In the darkness of another dimension, strength speaks louder than words. A knight grips his blade with unwavering resolve as shadows dance around him. But it's rare to hear genuine praise about someone's power. A contemplative figure in gray acknowledges what he's witnessing. This armored warrior possesses terrifying strength. And now he's setting his sights on collecting mana stones from this very knight. The knight's dismissive reaction only fuels the challenge. After all, in this deadly game, it's first come, first served. Steel crashes against steel as two warriors collide in a deadly dance. The silver-helmed knight with burning red eyes swings his massive weapon, sending arcs of energy spiraling through the air. His opponent in white moves with lightning precision, dodging the devastating slash that cuts through reality itself. Energy explodes around them as they exchange crushing blows. Each strike creates sparks that illuminate their fierce determination. This isn't just combat. It's a test of everything they are. Shock ripples across a young man's face as sweat beads on his forehead. He's witnessing something beyond comprehension. The dark-cloaked warrior launches forward with impossible speed, his weapon carving deadly arcs through the air. The impact resonates like thunder as blade meets opponent in an explosive collision. Motion lines blur as the two figures clash with earth-shattering force. The very air seems to fracture around their devastating encounter. The muscular fighter unleashes his full power, launching forward with incredible velocity. His fist connects with the armored warrior's chest in a devastating blow that sends shockwaves through the air. But the knight barely flinches. Debris explodes outward as the impact reverberates through the battlefield. The fighter turns to face a new threat, while another combatant performs an acrobatic maneuver through the chaos. Every movement is calculated, every strike potentially lethal. The armored figure's cape flows as he brandishes his weapon with fluid motion. His opponent stares in disbelief. That direct hit to the head left no mark whatsoever. Not even a scratch on that impenetrable armor. The realization hits like a cold wave. This opponent isn't just strong. He's operating on an entirely different level. Panic sets in as one fighter bolts away, shouting about a product recall. Sometimes discretion truly is the better part of valor. A commanding voice echoes through the chaos. Lancelot receives his orders to pursue. The legendary knight responds with unwavering loyalty, ready to serve his master's will. But observers question the wisdom of risking everything for mere mana stones. One warns about the danger this knight represents. Yet, as Lancelot charges forward with devastating force, his sheer presence dominates the battlefield. The sound of clashing steel announces that this battle has entered a new phase entirely. Energy spirals through the air as a charged spear-like projectile hurtles toward its target. The young man's anxiety peaks as sweat drips from his face, while a dark-haired woman observes with calculated focus. Both witnesses understand they're watching something extraordinary unfold. The distance between them and the action feels both protective and precarious. That whirring sound of approaching energy carries with it the promise of devastating consequences for whoever stands in its path. The muscular warrior continues his relentless assault, his blade cutting through projectiles with surgical precision. His opponent in flowing red counters with equal skill, their weapons singing as they clash. Two observers watch in amazement. How can anyone slice through attacks at point-blank range? The fighter demonstrates impossible reflexes, cutting through glowing orbs mid-flight while maintaining perfect form. Meanwhile, a crowned figure watches from the shadows, radiating confidence as chaos unfolds before him. The skull-masked warrior's disdain cuts through the air like his blade. He condemns his opponent's cowardly tactics, hiding behind barriers while launching projectiles. The red-haired mage listens intently as accusations of dishonor fill the chamber. But the armored figure reveals a crucial detail. Despite the mage's 8th rank status, Lancelot operates at the 7th rank. And that arrogance the mage displays? It will be his downfall. Because against Lancelot's might, those feeble attacks mean absolutely nothing. The skeletal king's disappointment burns hotter than the flames surrounding his throne. He reflects on Lancelot's actions, questioning when his loyal knight strayed from the path of honor. The crowned figure raises his hand, contemplating the magical items Lancelot possesses. How many powerful artifacts has this knight accumulated? The air grows thick with tension as past transgressions surface. Perhaps this display isn't cowardice after all. Maybe it's something far more dangerous. Pure, unbridled arrogance. Confusion clouds the young warrior's mind as he questions the skeleton knight's tactics. Why isn't such a powerful being using magic? The menacing figure on his throne casts ominous shadows, while battle sounds echo around them. The truth becomes clear. Utilizing these advanced weapons in this higher-dimensional space costs far too much. Creating new weapons drains resources at an alarming rate. Every decision carries a price that could mean the difference between victory and catastrophic defeat. The fighter admits his tactical error. Creating weapons without considering the cost has drained his mana stone reserves. Now he must rely on his strongest weapon, the fiery bowling ball. But there's a problem. He's already seen this lance deflect such attacks effortlessly. The bowling ball impacts with tremendous force, yet the calls to stop echo across the battlefield. Someone recognizes the muscular warrior, and that recognition might change everything. Sometimes the greatest weapons aren't forged from steel. The revelation strikes like lightning through the dark chamber. The skull-masked figure realizes his opponent isn't a mage at all. He's human. Laughter echoes through the flames as understanding dawns. No human should exist in a place like this, yet here one stands. The dynamic shifts instantly as Lancelot receives orders to lower his weapon. Enemies become potential partners in a single moment. But confusion spreads among the witnesses. What does partners really mean in this twisted realm? The skeletal king reveals a stunning truth. This castle is actually Camelot itself. Behind Lancelot, energy swirls as the dark-haired warrior contemplates this revelation. The king explains Camelot's sinister function, producing enchantment stones by consuming living beings. These red stones hover before them, pulsing with dark potential. Their basic purpose is strengthening items and enhancing power, but they can be used on special items as well. The implications are staggering. The skeleton's red eyes gleam with sinister amusement as he chuckles about infinite possibilities ahead. Flames flicker behind him, casting dancing shadows across his grinning skull. He promises that once the stone is created, everything will proceed smoothly. The young man in blue listens with growing relief, wiping away a tear as hope replaces anxiety. This entrepreneurial vision might actually solve their problems. Sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected sources. The skeletal figure commands with absolute authority. Pax must store Camelot in the parallel dimension immediately. Purple eyes glow with power as destruction rages in the background. The robed figure spins around, a confident smirk on his skeletal face. But confusion ripples through the air. Store? Parallèle dimension? The very concept seems impossible, yet the command rings with undeniable authority. In this realm of magic and mayhem, even the impossible becomes routine. Bewilderment spreads through the flame-lit chamber as the armored figure stammers in confusion. What has happened? The skull-masked warrior's composure cracks for the first time. Meanwhile, two other characters examine a small glowing object with wonder and curiosity. It's so tiny, so seemingly harmless, like a child's toy. Yet this innocent-looking artifact holds power beyond imagination. Sometimes the most dangerous things come in the smallest packages. Fury erupts from the skeletal king as he clutches the purple gemstone. His rage echoes through the chamber as he hurls insults at Lancelot, calling him a low-rank worm who dared steal everything. The energy orb launches from his grasp with tremendous force, transforming into a monstrous green spirit as it descends. The crash reverberates through the castle as explosive energy fills the air. When kings fall, their wrath knows no bounds. Amidst the chaos, A silver-armored figure stands ready with gleaming sword in hand. His muscular form exudes nobility and confidence as flames rage behind him. Lambert receives his orders. Eliminate the Skeleton King. The dark-haired warrior nearby questions the plan, uncertainty clear in his voice. But as the Skeleton King realizes the danger, panic sets in. The clash of steel announces that this battle has reached its climax. Desperation fills the skeletal figure's voice as he commands Pax to act. Purple eyes blaze with urgency while destruction rages around them. Pax responds with strained effort, trying to hold off the inevitable. The radiant sword cuts through the air with devastating precision. The sound of crackling energy fills the battlefield as a purple gem splits and cracks under the immense pressure. Power fractures. Authority crumbles. And in that moment, everything changes. Debris crystallizes mid-air as reality itself seems to shift. The armored figure stands motionless, witnessing events beyond comprehension. Dust swirls through the devastated urban landscape as a bright object zooms forward. With decisive action, a gauntlet hand reaches down and grasps the glowing yellow gem. A notification appears. The Skeleton King's dimensional account now belongs to Jeong-gyeom, the new owner of Lancelot. Power has found new master. Jeong-gyeom's eyes widen as his dimensional account displays an impossible number, 3,086 total mana stones. His friend gasps in complete astonishment at the massive fortune before them. Jeong-gyeom grins with excitement, already dreaming of acquiring even more power. But a warning cuts through his enthusiasm. A woman in revealing armor warns him that taking too much at once could endanger his very life. Great power always comes with great risk. The dark-haired young man in white displays a confident smirk as he negotiates, referencing past conflicts involving third-rate mana stones. The brown-haired woman teases him about his life-saving gesture being worth so little. Their banter unfolds in a bright, futuristic setting with glowing portals. But the atmosphere shifts when a tall, armored figure appears with menacing presence. His arrival signals that their light-hearted moment is about to take a much more serious turn. In the bright warehouse, an unusual domestic scene unfolds. A young girl plays happily with a fearsome skeleton knight, finding joy where others would find terror. Her mother apologizes for her daughter's behavior, noting she's been quite bored in this confined space. Who would actually want to live alongside such a terrifying creature? Yet little Jeong welcomed Lancelot with open arms, proving that sometimes innocence sees what wisdom cannot. A father worries that his daughter might become too attached to their unusual companion, constantly begging for playtime. But watch closely. Even as Jeong holds the sword, the armored figure supports her carefully, ensuring she never touches the blade itself. His gentle, considerate nature shines through every action. The dark-haired young man reflects on this tenderness. They can all sense it. Beneath that intimidating exterior lies the heart of a truly good person. A woman with concerned eyes addresses Jeong-gyeom directly. She hasn't seen him rest properly in days. While she understands his sense of urgency, pushing himself too hard could prove catastrophic. The late hour makes her suggestion even more reasonable. Why not wait until morning? But their conversation is playfully interrupted by someone joking about mysterious objects. Sometimes the most caring advice comes from those who understand the weight of leadership. The confident young man finally agrees that a good night's sleep might be exactly what they need. A peaceful scene unfolds as a little girl sleeps soundly against her father's shoulder, her earlier complaints about boredom forgotten in slumber. The man carrying her looks down with pure affection. A woman observes how deeply the child sleeps now, such a contrast to her earlier restlessness. Sometimes rest comes when we finally feel safe. In a vibrant warehouse, Jeong-gyeom prepares to set up a resting place for their new companion. He examines the glowing purple gem, studying Camelot's fascinating attributes. Right of blood, some inspector, knighting. These abilities focus on summoning and enhancing knights, but understanding the size requirements puzzles him. The gem pulses with mysterious energy as he contemplates its true potential. Some powers require careful consideration before use. The ground shakes as Jeong-gyeom wonders if 300 mana stones will suffice for his plan. Reality shifts around them as a massive, ominous structure materializes from the parallel dimension. The towering building dwarfs everything around it, casting long shadows in the eerie light. The armored figure confirms this should be large enough for their group. But the implications are staggering. If 300 stones created this, how many thousands did the Skeleton King spend on his version? Under the misty night sky, the woman estimates the Skeleton King used tens of thousands of mana stones for his luxurious castle. Jeong-gyeom reflects on storing that gigantic version of Camelot without experiencing side effects. The full moon illuminates their surroundings as he turns to Lancelot with a request. The knight, resplendent in silver and gold armor with striking red eyes, has been observing Jeong-gyeom's swordsmanship. His praise carries the weight of centuries of combat experience. The young man's eyes widen with astonishment as he witnesses something incredible. In the dimly lit training area, the chestnut-haired woman confidently engages with the armored knight. Lancelot nods approvingly, agreeing to her proposal while requesting a favor in return for his teachings. Her enthusiastic laughter fills the space as she offers a training session, promising her skills will push them beyond their limits. Energy crackles in the air. This is where legends are forged. Jeong-gyeom admits he can't refuse such an offer. Laughter echoes through the warehouse as someone expresses their immediate appreciation for Lancelot's attitude. The knight's boots stir up dust as he walks with newfound purpose. His footsteps echo with determination across the industrial floor. Against the backdrop of towering buildings, Lancelot stands ready with weapon in hand. The narrative declares a simple but powerful truth. Lancelot has become one of them. A soldier's radio crackles with urgent communication. They're not the only ones moving this early morning. Two figures observe the rising chaos, one noting something feels distinctly wrong about the situation. The desolate urban landscape stretches before them, broken buildings creating an eerie backdrop. Ominous sounds fill the air as aircraft approach. The helicopter's appearance overhead confirms their worst fears. Whatever's coming next won't be peaceful. The helicopter's rotors thunder overhead as Jeong-gyeom excitedly recognizes the aircraft. A lieutenant general approaches with stern authority, their reunion carrying both warmth and urgency. The general explains they've been searching everywhere since witnessing the zone around Banpo mysteriously disappear. The concrete jungle around them emphasizes the gravity of their situation. Time is running short, and the helicopter's presence suggests the stakes have escalated dramatically. Jeong-gyeom's concern grows as he senses something important is happening. The lieutenant general delivers devastating news. A coup has seized control of the Air Defense Command and is systematically shooting down all airborne vehicles. Shock ripples across Jeong-gyeom's face as the implications sink in. The military command center buzzes with urgent activity as maps and strategic documents highlight their increasingly difficult situation. The enemy has made their first move. Maps and charts dominate the strategic discussion as the lieutenant general outlines their challenges. The enemy has assimilated capital defense forces and established a rigid defensive system in the western outskirts of Dongdaemun District. Drone after drone has been shot down while attempting reconnaissance. A confident strategist suggests taking a longer route through Namyangju to avoid the immediate danger. The command center atmosphere thrums with tactical urgency as they weigh their limited options. The soldier expresses relief at reaching them in time, emphasizing the critical nature of their timing. Questions arise about the fate of the Skeleton King and whether they actually managed to defeat such a formidable opponent. The map displays routes from Wjeongbu to Dabong, revealing the complexity of their journey ahead. While reaching Wjeongbu alone wouldn't be problematic, the soldier explains he must stop by Dabong first. The tactical situation grows more complicated with each revelation. A character expresses deep concern for family members facing constant threats from both monsters and rebel soldiers. The ominous presence of a wide-eyed creature lurks in the background, emphasizing the dual nature of their dangers. Another figure declares there's not a second to waste. Time has become their most precious resource. As Lancelot is mentioned, the tension builds toward a crucial revelation about their recent victory against the Skeleton King. With a confident smile, Jeong-gyeom reveals they encountered something extraordinary. A towering skeleton knight stands beside them, its menacing armor gleaming despite its fearsome appearance. The nervous military officer stammers in disbelief at the sight of such a creature. But Jeong-gyeom proudly declares this powerful being is now one of their allies. Against the war-torn backdrop, hope begins to emerge. This legendary knight will prove invaluable in the battles ahead. The lieutenant general's face lights up with genuine excitement as he exclaims his enthusiasm. Bright sunlight breaks across the scene, suggesting a new dawn of possibilities. A soldier stands ready near military artillery, his serious demeanor contrasting the general's optimism. The camera focuses on details, hands, equipment, preparation. Everything points toward imminent action as the mood shifts from cautious planning to enthusiastic preparation for what lies ahead. In a forest clearing, a green-skinned soldier guards caged prisoners when sudden alarm strikes. An ethereal purple entity, a skull engulfed in flames, appears with menacing intent. The specter dashes forward with incredible speed, creating a whooshing sound that echoes through the trees. Shadowy figures scatter as panic spreads. The soldier quickly alerts his companion about the supernatural threat. This ghostly apparition brings more than just fear. It brings the promise of liberation. A 4-star general with distinctive green skin and pointed ears stands tense against an explosion of energy. His puzzled expression shows confusion as supernatural forces manifest around him. A mysterious figure in dark clothing stands among the trees, while a purple glowing skull hovers ominously nearby. The summoning of a specter from Camelot has begun, bringing mystical power to this forest battlefield. Ancient magic clashes with modern military might. Jeong-gyeom explains the tactical advantage of their summon knight. It can transition between physical and spectral forms without additional cost. The skeletal knight's presence looms as strategy unfolds around a detailed map of Bukhansan Mountain. A serious military briefer points to key locations, emphasizing how their spectral abilities provide the perfect scouting solution. The Spectre can gather crucial intelligence about enemy artillery and troop positions without detection. Information becomes their greatest weapon. The military briefing continues as they discuss strategy based on gathered intelligence. A ghostly specter soars through the air while Jeong-gyeom reacts with shock to devastating news. Soldiers have been transformed into goblins, a twisted corruption of human beings. Over 200 people are imprisoned in steel cages, marked as sacrifices for some dark ritual. The young man stands with intense alarm as the true horror of their situation becomes clear. This isn't just war, it's an abomination. A female operative reacts with visible tension as the purple skull entity looms with fiery presence. Military personnel observe the unfolding situation with growing concern. One man expresses disbelief at the implications, civilians held hostage by forces beyond their understanding. Another character questions the identity of this powerful entity, his serious expression reflecting the gravity of their discovery. The skull assures them it poses no threat, yet seeks something of critical importance. Trust becomes a luxury they cannot afford. Inside the futuristic command vehicle, 3 figures engage in a serious discussion about ranking systems and sacrifice. The dark-haired man listens attentively while the brunette woman questions the ethics of using people as sacrificial tools for advancement. The floating skull explains the mechanics, how ranks increase through the impressive force delivered by sacrifices. An 8th rank can advance to 9th through such methods, though success isn't guaranteed. The conversation grows increasingly disturbing. The skeletal figure reveals a crucial loophole. Low-ranking beings often make deals with higher-ranked entities instead of sacrificing humans directly. The muscular woman asserts the urgency of their situation, demanding decisive action against those scheming to sacrifice innocent lives. Her frustration is palpable as she labels them nut jobs engaged in unconscionable acts. Another character urges caution, warning that their opponent's plans may be far more dangerous than initially anticipated. Every moment of delay costs lives. In the military command center, the strategist praises Lancelot's intelligence gathering, noting how discovering the brigade commander and anti-aircraft gun locations dramatically improved their success rate. But he warns of a critical problem. Enemy defenses far exceed expectations. The detailed map shows their tactical challenge as he explains the inevitable escalation. Once attacks begin, the enemy will call for I-Corps reinforcements, transforming this into full-scale warfare. Victory requires speed above all else. The suited strategist expresses concern about overwhelming enemy numbers and superior weaponry, suggesting they need reinforcements from nearby bases. Another character understands the logic but emphasizes time constraints. They can't wait for backup. Bang Hak Dong is where his brother lives, making this deeply personal. The purple skull flares ominously in the background as they discuss summoning another night. The risk grows exponentially, but they must end this before the enemy advances further into civilian areas. Inside the sleek command center, the discussion turns to summoning another night. Jeong-gyeom expresses reluctance about the decision, noting it wouldn't feel right somehow. He mentions their previous discussions about enchantment stones and their potential for duplication, though that remains impossible. The conversation focuses on the purple skull, representing an enchant stone from the defeated Skeleton King. But confusion clouds his expression. What enchant stone? He doesn't remember collecting one. The mystery deepens as their options narrow. Last time, our heroes faced an impossible choice in the underground command center. Now, the mystery deepens as they discover something crucial. An enchanted stone from Lancelot's previous battles. But wait, he never collected one, did he? The conversation shifts to the legendary 12 Knights of Camelot, warriors of unmatched skill and unwavering loyalty. A spectral skull materializes, its presence heavy with ancient power. Bedivere emerges as their best choice for what lies ahead. But as hope breaks through the clouds like brilliant sunlight, one question burns: what darkness are they truly facing? In a forest prison bathed in deadly sunlight, terror takes human form. A young woman in orange sits trapped behind iron bars, her long brown hair framing a face etched with desperate hope. Her captor approaches, a yellow-skinned predator whose razor grin promises only pain. He studies her like prey, noting she's the only one in decent condition among the captured. Then comes the offer that freezes blood. Should he let her out? The question hangs in the air like a blade over her throat. The skeletal monster's laugh echoes through the prison as he makes his twisted proposition. One small favor, that's all he asks. His grotesque grin widens as fear flickers across the girl's face. She flinches, knowing that any deal with this creature means damnation. But his promise cuts through her terror. He'll help her escape. The sound of metal, scraping metal, fills the air as opportunity presents itself. Without hesitation, she bolts toward freedom, her determination burning brighter than her fear. The gate creaks open. Freedom tastes bitter when bought with blood. The brown-haired girl in orange witnesses something that defies explanation, a brilliant object screaming across the sky above her. Two soldiers in gray camouflage shield their eyes from the blazing light, one questioning what rocket or missile could create such devastation. Their confusion turns to horror as the distant crash echoes across the mountainous terrain. Whatever just launched into the heavens has changed everything. And somewhere in that chaos, the girl realizes her escape was just the beginning. The explosion shatters the mountain silence like a thunderclap from hell. An orc soldier in military dress looks up in bewilderment, his tactical mind struggling to process what could cause such destruction. Smoke billows across the peaks as debris rains down. Did something just explode? But in the aftermath, something far more terrifying emerges. An armored hand grips a glowing orb, its warm radiance pulsing with otherworldly power. This isn't random chaos. Someone, or something, is orchestrating this devastation with surgical precision.
In the shadow of the cage, a cloaked figure stands with deadly purpose. The yellow orb in their grasp pulses with elemental fury as violent sounds echo nearby. But the conversation reveals an impossible paradox. How can Bedivere be a genius archer with only one arm? The answer comes with chilling clarity. He was a genius archer. Past tense. The implications hit like a physical blow. Whatever transformed this legendary knight into his current state stripped away more than just flesh and bone.
In a hall draped with menacing shadows, evil wears a human face. A skeletal figure looms behind a well-dressed man who grips a dagger with unsettling confidence. 7 days of relentless training have honed him into a weapon, all for one tiny favor. Meanwhile, in another chamber, a young man contemplates the skull decoration, understanding the true magnitude of their enemies. These aren't ordinary foes. They're facing the Order of Camelot's captain. And as explosive visuals tear across the scene, one truth becomes undeniable. A major confrontation is no longer approaching. It's here. Power erupts in devastating fashion as a military figure executes a bone-shattering kick, sending debris exploding in all directions. The crash reverberates across the mountainside like artillery fire. Through his window, a brown-skinned soldier processes the destruction with growing alarm. Smoke rises from the distant hillside, where something has been utterly annihilated. His confusion turns to dread as the rumbling continues. Whatever force just demonstrated such devastating power isn't finished. This is only the opening move. Chaos invades the classroom as steel slices through air with a deadly whisper. A gray-skinned orc cries out in alarm, demanding answers from Major Park as his world tilts into nightmare. Behind him, an armored figure advances with each step echoing like a death knell. Red eyes burn within that helmet as he declares a truth that chills the blood. This isn't a place for amateurs. A young elf-eared man staggers backward, gripping his head in shock. The word doom flashes as reality crashes down. They're facing something far beyond their comprehension. Digital notifications cascade across Jeong-gyeom's vision like falling stars. From mana stones, 12 more. The numbers climb to 2,698 with mechanical precision. He stares at the readout in disbelief, his phenomenal account automatically harvesting power he never had to touch. But something feels wrong. The accumulation is happening too fast, unnaturally fast. His dark hair frames a face etched with growing concern as he questions what forces are driving this rapid collection. Is this blessing or curse in disguise? The scoreboard climbs to 2,788 as Jeong-gyeom watches intense fascination. Then the sky explodes. A massive blast illuminates the horizon, its brilliance washing over 4 figures standing witness to military destruction. Jong-soo turns at his companion's urgent call, their group mesmerized by the systematic annihilation of anti-aircraft guns. One observer notes, with awe, how the signal perfectly coordinated the devastation. Joon-ki's pride in his order finally makes sense. They're watching surgical precision disguised as chaos. But who wields such terrifying efficiency? In the aftermath of devastation, 2 military minds attempt to comprehend what they've witnessed. The dark-haired young man looks skyward with mounting concern, while his older companion in gray tactical gear speaks of special forces with reverence, knights of incredible capability. But their conversation is shattered by another screaming projectile tearing across the heavens. Meanwhile, a skeletal figure consults his device, anxiety creeping into his calculations. Following Captain Lancelot's instructions seemed simple. Now he questions if any of them truly understood what they've unleashed. Lost in the forest maze, the cloaked figure questions every direction, his confidence cracking. Then violence erupts without warning. The gray-skinned character receives a devastating punch that drops him like a stone. His armored opponent moves with fluid brutality, stomping down with mechanical precision. Blood spatters as the victim coughs in agony. The armored figure speaks of holding back strength being a bother. but his restraint is terrifying in its implications. This isn't a fight. It's an execution disguised as combat. The interrogation begins with the intimacy of violence. Red eyes burn within the armored helmet as he demands answers about the loophole method. Who taught it? Where to find them? The green-skinned goblin's initial hesitation melts into malicious glee. He knows something, and he's enjoying the power that knowledge grants. When he finally speaks, the name drops like a stone into still water. Tonitiyu. The armored figure's shock is palpable. This revelation changes everything. But who or what is Tonitiyu? The dark-haired young man delivers a revelation that freezes blood. Tonitiyu, a colossal entity that makes 8th-rank warriors look like children. The armored figure's denial is cut short by explosive violence as the green-skinned creature takes a devastating blow. He rolls away desperately as the young man makes his own swift escape, darting toward the chaos. Power levels that seemed absolute suddenly feel insignificant. If 8th rank means nothing to this Tonitiyu, what hope do any of them have? Amid the debris of recent explosions, the green-skinned commander executes a desperate athletic leap, his military training pushing him beyond normal limits. His subordinate rushes to assist, frantically checking on his superior's condition. But the commander's demands reveal the true desperation. Bring the bike, they need to move now. A younger soldier affirms the order with nervous urgency. Yet in the background, an ominous voice cuts through their escape plans. Running is useless. The predator has already chosen its prey. The blue-coated figure's cry rallies the soldiers as they rush to protect their commander. Gray-skinned troops in camouflage move forward with grim determination, urging their leader to safety while they buy time with their lives. But their enemy's voice drips with condescension, lecturing them about situational awareness. The grotesque creature with burning red eyes aims its weapon with casual confidence, boasting how consuming just 10 more humans would elevate it to 8th rank. Their sacrifice may be noble, but against such a monster, is nobility enough? The goblin's smugness reaches its peak as he declares their intelligence, their adaptation to this changing world. But his cooperation with the armored figure reveals a darker truth. He's grateful for the elimination of targets he would have had to identify himself. Blood splashes across the urban battlefield as an unseen figure falls victim to surgical violence. Another goblin huddles protectively near his wounded companion, fear replacing arrogance. Intelligence means nothing when you're caught between two apex predators who see you as expendable. The green-skinned goblin clutches his side, military uniform stained with desperation as he struggles for breath. Around him, the battlefield tells its grim story in blood and broken bodies. Another goblin lies motionless, shock frozen on his features as life drains from his wide red eye. The sound of impact echoes repeatedly, each strike driving home the hopelessness of their situation. A third goblin crouches in the debris, his single word summing up their collective realization. Crap indeed. This was never a battle. It was a slaughter. The rhythmic thunder of helicopter rotors cuts through the chaos as military reinforcements arrive. A confident pilot behind sunglasses announces their landing with professional calm. But inside the aircraft, fear overrides protocol as a worried soldier advises staying within the parallel dimension safety. The green-skinned military figure below stares upward in shocked disbelief. The government army has arrived. His sweating face reflects not relief, but the terrible understanding that their situation has just escalated beyond all control. Sometimes rescue looks exactly like Judgment Day. The blue-coated commander's desperate cry echoes across the bloodbath as steel finds flesh. A soldier drives his blade deep, his victim's face contorting in agony as crimson sprays across the concrete. The wet sounds of violence punctuate the air, splat, drip, crunch, chomp. An armored figure with blue hair consumes something unspeakable behind its intimidating mask. A dark-haired young man watches in horrified fascination, his shocked question hanging in the blood-thick air. What the hell is happening here? The armored figure's transformation accelerates with each grotesque bite, the sound of consumption filling the air. Shimmering stones glint in a goblin's trembling hand, the currency of power paid in flesh and blood. As the creature chomps down, witnesses realize the horrifying truth. He's ascending to 8th rank through cannibalism. A blonde observer questions the morality of using human flesh for power, his face etched with disgust. The red glow intensifies, signaling a metamorphosis that defies nature itself. Intelligence becomes irrelevant when hunger drives evolution. The muscular figure with wild blonde hair roars his rage, pointed ears marking him as something beyond human. His fury echoes across the battlefield as armored soldiers discuss rank classifications with clinical detachment. 6th rank, but this threat doesn't require their leader's involvement. Bedivere can handle the annihilation alone. Their confidence seems misplaced as the enraged warrior dashes toward his target with superhuman speed. The armored commander fires his weapon with a confident declaration of trust in his forces. But rage has a way of exceeding all calculations. In the blood-soaked aftermath, military personnel attempt to restore order from chaos. Splattered crimson marks the ground where violence recently erupted. A soldier in gray camo approaches his superior in light blue tactical gear, seeking updates on the situation's progress. Another helmeted figure inquires about the lieutenant general, urgency threading through his voice. Despite the carnage surrounding them, reports indicate successful threat elimination. Yet confusion lingers as they survey the destruction. What happened here defies easy explanation, even for hardened military minds. An ominous apology echoes through the gray military installation as a masked figure in dark blue acknowledges unsolved mysteries. Beside him, a concerned young man in formal gray proposes searching the brigade commander's documents for answers. The masked authority figure shows unexpected grace, recognizing his subordinate's exceptional service throughout the operation. A helmeted soldier listens as orders flow. Gather all documents, send them to the brigade commander. Against the backdrop of gray skies and visible machinery, the weight of incomplete missions hangs heavy. Some victories feel hollow when questions remain unanswered. Jeong-gyeom's concerned expression deepens as he processes the technological interface before him. Document analysis calculations flow across screens while he apologizes for his uncertainty. His confidence returns as he mentions PAC's capabilities. No need for extra effort when superior assistance exists. A military figure nearby expresses urgency about waiting for Jeong-gyeom, tension threading through the advanced control facility. The sophisticated environment pulses with activity, but human anxiety cuts through all the technology. Even the most advanced systems depend on the people operating them. Jeong-gyeom stares at the digital screen in bewilderment, his blue shirt rumpled from stress. The dimensional being application form appears before him like a gateway to another world. An armored figure explains its purpose, a document that allows rank advancement, though one copy lies in shameful condition. The rustling sound emphasizes the document's significance as they examine both the damaged and pristine versions. In this chaotic building environment, bureaucracy still governs transformation. Even in the apocalypse, paperwork determines who lives and who transcends. Frustration mounts in the dimly lit command center as the hooded figure gestures at scattered documents. Instead of official channels, desperate people chose to become golems, likely because proper documentation remained beyond their reach. Military personnel express confusion about the document's nature, while another character contemplates self-registration with eager apprehension. The weight of bureaucratic barriers in life-or-death situations becomes clear. When survival depends on paperwork, some will choose monstrous transformation over administrative defeat. The stakes couldn't be higher, yet red tape still strangles hope. Jeong-gyeom Kim gulps as anxiety floods his system, beads of sweat betraying his nervousness as he confronts the dimensional being application. But excitement quickly replaces fear when he discovers the reward: 1,000 mana stones for registration. His scratching pen marks the transformation from civilian to something more. The digital chime signals completion: 2,422 mana stones total. Observers question if the process could be so simple, their skepticism understandable. In a world where power determines survival, sometimes the most important changes happen with just a signature. Mild curiosity hangs in the air as documents await processing, but patience runs thin when urgency demands action. Suddenly, the screech of bicycle brakes cuts through the tension as a green-jacketed figure arrives with breathless apologies for lateness. The heavy load explains his delay, but his arrival triggers shock in the masked observer. Wide eyes behind the mask process the unexpected delivery, while confusion ripples through the gathered figures. Sometimes the most important packages arrive when you least expect them. But what cargo could inspire such alarm? The skeletal robotic figure sits in imposing calm as the magnitude of their task becomes clear. 40,728 military documents require examination. A soldier with cropped hair discusses the necessity, while Jeong-gyeom's worried expression reveals deeper concerns. His family weighs heavily on his mind. The mission ahead dangerous enough to demand his full attention. Lieutenant General Yu will handle document analysis while the party advances. The promise to return once his family is safe hangs in the air like a prayer. Some missions demand everything, but family demands even more. Inside the military facility, tactical concerns dominate the conversation. The hooded figure insists on driving to Dorbing District despite the dangers posed by rabid creatures. The robotic helmeted character explains their vehicle limitations. Only himself and 2 skeleton knights would travel by regular car. Their goal of avoiding military appearance seems reasonable, yet a magical phenomenon pulses behind them. The anxious character contemplates options, while otherworldly energy swirls nearby. Sometimes the safest disguise is the most dangerous truth. Jeong-gyeom descends the staircase with resigned determination, his presumptions about normal transportation crumbling. Accompanied by the imposing armored figure with blue cape, their footsteps echo like countdown markers. Electric bikes and scavenge vehicles represent their only options now, slow but manageable solutions. His expression balances worry with resolve as he accepts their constrained circumstances. A sudden flash interrupts their descent, adding urgency to their already precarious situation. Sometimes adaptation matters more than convenience. But will slow progress prove fast enough? Hope for finding a car dies in a dramatic pause, but fate delivers something unexpected. The roar of an engine shatters the silence as a skeletal figure in tan vest revs a motorcycle with obvious delight. Jeong-gyeom's confusion is understandable. Where did Bedivere acquire such a machine? The answer comes with mischievous glee. The brigade commander's motorcycle, shipped to his old district on special recommendation. In the dim warehouse setting, mechanical salvation wears a death's head grin. Sometimes the best solutions come with the strangest messengers. Jeong-gyeom's surprise transforms into tactical thinking as he realizes the brigade commander's motorcycle represents opportunity. His contemplation of using collected mana stones proves prescient when the system chimes confirmation. 22 stones exchanged to save the item under military base category, leaving 2,400 remaining. But their transaction doesn't go unnoticed. A green-skinned soldier turns toward the thunderous sound echoing through the base, his puzzled expression reflecting growing awareness. Some acquisitions announce themselves whether you want them to or not. The orc soldier's contemplation is interrupted by mechanical thunder reverberating through the military building. His tactical companion grips his firearm, both men focusing on the motorcycle sound from outside. Questions flow between them. Were they expecting anyone? The uncertainty breeds tension as the orc admits ignorance about the rider's identity. Through windows offering glimpses of urban environment, mystery roars closer. When unexpected visitors arrive during wartime, preparation becomes paramount. But are they facing friend, foe, or something else entirely? The green-skinned guard's warning about trespassers is cut short by devastating violence. His rifle proves useless against the sudden attack that sends him reeling backward, blood streaming from his injuries. Shock and confusion replace military confidence as he collapses, questioning what force could strike so suddenly. Meanwhile, another figure on a motorcycle calls out for Sergeant Lee, red eyes burning within a menacing helmet. The abandoned urban environment becomes a battlefield where military training meets supernatural power. Trespassers, it seems, have their own rules of engagement. Motorcycles roar through the city streets as the skeletal figure in tan vest leads a chaotic procession, debris scattering in their wake. From his window perch, an elderly man with pointed ears watches in amazement, his shock giving way to curiosity. He's never witnessed such a unique motorcycle before. Its design defying conventional understanding. The urban landscape of towering skyscrapers and reflective buildings provides a dramatic backdrop for this supernatural chase. In a world where the impossible becomes routine, even motorcycles transcend normal limitations. Outside the towering concrete apartment building, desperation drives Jeong-gyeom's urgent knocking. His repeated calls for Jeong-gyeom echo off grimy walls as he identifies himself as the younger brother. Each bang on the door of apartment 1405 carries mounting anxiety, his animated gestures betraying the fear beneath his determination. The urban decay surrounding them amplifies the tension. This isn't just a family visit, it's a rescue mission. But silence answers his pleas, leaving only the weight of unanswered questions. Where's his brother? Inside the damaged apartment, Jeong-gyeom surveys a scene of hasty evacuation. Cracks spider across walls while a fallen chair and broken television tell stories of interrupted lives. The hissing static from the damaged screen provides an eerie soundtrack to his investigation. A wedding portrait hangs askew, its happiness now mocking the current devastation. His nervous grab for the doorknob signals growing dread as shadows lurk in the background. The single word he utters hangs incomplete, promising revelations that might shatter more than just hope. The question echoes through empty rooms as Jeong-gyeom searches for any sign of life. His skeletal companion offers to lead, their commanding presence both reassuring and ominous. Following the armored figure down the dimly lit corridor, Jeong-gyeom processes the evidence before him. No signs of attack, no struggle, just the methodical evacuation of people fleeing unknown dangers. The sound of their footsteps emphasizes the building's abandonment. But as he turns toward an unexpected noise, one truth becomes clear. They're not alone in this supposedly empty place.
The folded letter holds answers written in desperation. A framed couple smiles down from the wall, their happiness now a painful reminder of what was lost. The writer's uncertainty about who will find his message bleeds through every word as he explains their flight to Wjeongbu. With phones dead and communication impossible, only this paper bridge connects family members scattered by chaos. His mention of safety within laws provides small comfort against the larger terror. Sometimes the most important words are written when there's no time left to say them.
The letter's contents reveal a nightmare scenario that chills Jeong-gyeom to his core. Soldiers abducting civilians regardless of age or gender, taking people by force for unknown purposes. The randomness makes it worse. No pattern, no logic, just systematic harvesting of human lives. His furrowed brow and anxious sweat reflect the horror of what his family fled. In the dimly lit room, shadowy figures loom like manifestations of the very threat described. The promise to survive whatever it takes echoes across time, but survival demands more than determination. Jeong-gyeom's urgent instructions to Bedivere about showing the letter to his family in the parallel dimension reveal the depth of their crisis. His determination cuts through confusion as he acknowledges the letter's timing, written as conflicts began consuming the area. The worst-case scenario he feared is materializing before his eyes. If enemy forces have begun occupying looting Nike, then his family's evacuation was prescient. The damaged interior around them serves as a monument to civilian lives disrupted by forces beyond their control. Time has become their greatest enemy. In the dimly lit command center, an armored figure with a distinctive chest emblem radiates menacing confidence. Meanwhile, a soldier in tactical gear grimaces as he speaks into his headset, reporting the confirmation of an unidentified person and skeleton. His scarred face reflects grim determination as he declares his intention to kill. The warehouse fills with the thunder of gunfire and explosions, debris flying as bullets tear through the air. The command going for the kill transforms their facility into a battleground where identification ends and elimination begins. Projectiles scream through the air as Jeong-gyeom experiences his first real taste of combat. The boy in the button-up shirt admits the attack scared him more than expected, the sting of near death sharpening his senses. But fear transforms into revelation as he recognizes his repulsive force ability working perfectly. The notification confirms his tactical thinking. 141 mana stones spent to save the armed Black Hawk under military base category, leaving 2,447 stones remaining. In the debris-laden military base, survival becomes a learning experience measured in magical currency. High above the city, confusion reigns as a disheveled man with gray hair and headphones questions the identity of their machine gun-wielding opponent. Could this scarless figure be rank 87? The explosive sound accompanies someone's desperate leap from the ledge, while Jeong-gyeom maintains his serious composure despite the chaos. His directive to Lancelot carries urgent weight. They cannot afford to lose more time. The high-rise setting emphasizes both their elevated position and the dangerous fall that awaits any misstep. Time has become their most precious resource. Against the dramatic cloudscape, Jeong-gyeom's plea for everyone's safety carries the weight of desperate love. 7 days have passed since the crisis began, and the shortage of sacrifices creates mounting pressure. An older man with goblin-like features discusses the grim mathematics with First Lieutenant Park, their current numbers falling dangerously short of requirements. The desolate urban ruins around them reflect humanity's diminishing position in this new world order. When survival depends on quotas of human sacrifice, hope becomes the rarest commodity of all. In the command center's oppressive atmosphere, a green-skinned goblin in military dress exercises his authority with commanding precision. His pointed ears and scarred features reflect the harsh realities of their operation as he instructs subordinates about quota fulfillment in Yeongju. Sergeant Kyon's affirmative response carries the weight of understood consequences. The goblin's intimidating presence leaves no room for failure, while a muscular figure observes with confident menace. Authority in this new world flows through creatures that once existed only in nightmares. The old hierarchies have crumbled, replaced by something far more terrifying. Orders ring out with devastating finality as destruction becomes doctrine. The massive green-skinned giant with pink hair roars his compliance, each thunderous step announcing impending doom. Military vehicles roar to life as confusion spreads through the ranks. Who are these unstoppable forces? The muscular figure's grimace reflects their collective bewilderment, while 2 uniformed men voice the question haunting every survivor. In this devastated urban wasteland where chaos reigns supreme, identification of friend versus foe has become impossible. And in that uncertainty, annihilation finds its greatest advantage. The nightmare takes a brutal turn as chaos erupts in the streets. A disheveled man watches in horror as his own home becomes ground zero for terror. His screams pierce the air. Monsters have invaded his sanctuary. A masked figure roars past on a motorcycle, weapon gleaming, leaving devastation in their wake. The terrified faces of survivors reflect the new reality. No place is safe anymore. Blood trails follow the pink-haired rider's rampage through the devastated city. Bodies fall with sickening thuds as the violence spreads like wildfire. Outside Kim's hardware, panicked voices echo from within. Families huddled together, desperately seeking answers about the chaos consuming their world. The sound of splintering wood and metal mingles with their fearful questions. In the command center shadows, the green-skinned goblin speaks in urgent whispers about Jeong-gyeom's presence. His companion's shocked expression says everything. This changes everything. The scene shifts to a solemn memorial where formal figures stand before portraits and trophies. But beneath the reverence lies a darker truth. All things in life, good or bad, are shaped by the choices of people. A father's love echoes through time as he recounts raising his children with unwavering devotion. His dreams were simple yet profound: build a home where everyone could live together in peace. But studying architecture proved more complex than anticipated. The family photo radiates warmth and unity, a stark contrast to the looming threat that would soon tear everything apart. The aftermath reveals the price of survival. A corpse lies motionless as the disheveled man and armed woman survey the carnage. Food and water become precious commodities as they discuss their dire circumstances. Their forced hiding speaks to desperation beyond measure. The first visitors, their daughter-in-law's parents, arrive bearing both hope and additional burden in these darkest hours. The woman with brown hair reveals the horrifying truth. Monstrous soldiers now terrorize civilians without mercy. Where protection should exist, only chaos reigns. The green-skinned soldier stands over his injured victim, rifle in hand, embodying this new twisted order. Meanwhile, the brown-haired man grips his hammer with determined resolve. In this hell, someone has awakened an ability that might change everything. The muscular man discusses his newfound power with calculated confidence. Combined with his daughter-in-law's ability, they've found a way to endure this nightmare. Outside Kim's hardware, the desolate landscape stretches beneath breaking clouds. Two men exchange worried glances. Yesterday's military activity was just the prelude. Now, they've returned with something far worse than soldiers. Jeong-gyeom's sweat betrays his mounting anxiety as he explains their dire situation. The escape passage he built might be their only chance, but even he can't guarantee its safety. The young boy's worried question about his father echoes everyone's fears. The woman's distress cry for her husband amplifies the tension. Time is running out, and danger approaches from all sides. Jeong-gyeom's forced smile masks his terror as he urges his family to flee. His promise to follow rings hollow. They all sense this might be goodbye. The sounds of approaching enemies echo through the building as he grabs his makeshift weapon. His resolve hardens as he declares his intention to hold them off. Sometimes love means staying behind while others escape to safety. The man with glasses struggles to process what he's witnessed. A skeleton rider on a motorcycle, defying all logic. Confusion spreads among the group as they debate whether the approaching threat is truly as bad as it appears. The damaged Kim's hardware building looms behind them, debris and metal spikes scattered like grave markers. Their tactical gear suggests preparation, but are they ready for what's coming? The dark-haired man's desperation explodes as he realizes what truly matters isn't the approaching threat. It's whether his mother's son is the real danger. Tears stream down his face as he calls out Jeong-gyeom's name with raw emotion. A burst of energy signals something dramatic unfolding. The alleyway near Kim's hardware becomes the stage for a confrontation that will determine everything. Jeong-gyeom gasps in surprise as he grabs the distressed man's arm, sweat beading on both their faces. The man with glasses watches with growing concern. Then, Jeong-gyeom's expression shifts to confident control as he conjures a glowing orb of energy. The power expands dramatically, causing panic in those nearby. The woman's emotional breakdown, tears streaming down her face, reveals the devastating impact of witnessing such abilities. Around the dining table, a moment of normalcy breaks through the chaos. The man devours the braised sauerkraut with genuine delight, each bite bringing unexpected joy. The woman in the black turtleneck watches with quiet pride as her culinary skills provide comfort in these dark times. Her confidence in her cooking becomes evident as questions arise about her professional background. Even in hell, good food can heal wounded souls. The woman with brown hair beams with satisfaction as her guests enjoy the meal. Her companion's compliments about the delightful food lead to an offer of dessert as gratitude. The knife glides through green grapes with methodical precision. But there's something unsettling about her declaration of the dessert as her ultimate weapon. Sometimes the most innocent gestures hide the darkest intentions. The light-haired character's excitement over the tiramisu brings genuine laughter to the table. His exclamation about the incredible flavors draws amused reactions from his sunglasses-wearing friend. The casual atmosphere shifts when an older character encounters an armored figure. The question about his name carries weight beyond simple introduction. Even moments of joy can't last long in this transformed world. Lancelot's imposing figure, dark armor gleaming with red eyes, introduces himself to the nervous older man. The bizarre conversation about Korean chess takes an even stranger turn when the man mentions using monster corpses as chess pieces. Lancelot's offer to teach the game seems almost absurd given the circumstances. The younger man's confused expression mirrors everyone's bewilderment at this surreal exchange between knight and civilian. In the dimly lit space, Jeong-gyeom holds the glowing enchant stone its sparkle illuminating his curious expression. Jeong-gyeom, adjusting his glasses, recounts the brutal battle he witnessed between rhino-like and griffin creatures. The griffin's victory left behind this precious stone, extracted from the corpse like some macabre treasure. Their conversation carries the weight of new possibilities in a world where monster remains hold power. The two men share a moment of genuine connection as the younger one, in his gray hoodie, discusses making his in-laws comfortable. Their light-hearted banter about past experiences and gratitude reveals deeper bonds forged through hardship. The older man's reflection on being eternally grateful for timing hints at complex relationship dynamics. Their appreciation for useful abilities suggests these powers have become integral to survival. Father and son stand together in the reflective corridor, their reunion complete and their group finally safe. The light-haired boy expresses profound gratitude, while his father radiates happiness at their survival. Their conversation acknowledges the crucial role of abilities in their success. The father's admission that he couldn't have succeeded alone emphasizes how survival now depends on teamwork and mutual support in this transformed world. The young man's introspection reveals his initial uncertainty about helping others, questioning his own motivations. Yongo's wisdom about shared struggles resonates deeply, providing clarity about human nature under extreme circumstances. The older man's distressed expression reflects the collective confusion they all experienced. The realization dawns. They helped each other because recognizing shared humanity becomes essential when everything else falls apart. Jeong-gyeom's heartfelt speech about human nature strikes at the core of survival ethics. His neat appearance and determined expression underscore his conviction that regardless of abilities, everyone shares the same basic desires: to live without pain or death. His argument that helping each other is natural, while abandoning others is inhuman, earns his father's proud smile and affirmation. The dark-haired boy's playful gratitude for having his father touches both their hearts. The military man's concern about rest and safety reveals paternal love beneath his serious exterior. Their exchange about invulnerability hints at powerful protective abilities. But the atmosphere shifts when a soldier announces break time and reports the arrival of Skeleton Knight Redfire on a motorbike. Even family moments can't escape the approaching chaos. The soldier's urgent report about Master heading to Payu sends shockwaves through the room. The revelation that Jeong-gyeom intends to face the H-cops alone creates immediate alarm. His companion's shocked reaction, questioning why anyone would voluntarily confront such danger, hangs in the air. The scene explodes into action as a motorcycle tears across the sunset landscape, carrying its rider toward an uncertain fate. The motorcycle's roar cuts through the evening air as the young rider enjoys the breeze against his face. His smile suggests momentary peace despite the destination ahead. Meanwhile, in the boxing gym, the determined woman with the ponytail unleashes precise strikes against her training equipment. Her focused movements and muscular build demonstrate hours of preparation for whatever battles await. The training session erupts into chaos as powerful strikes echo through the gym. The red-haired fighter's muscular frame unleashes devastating punches while his opponent moves with swift determination. The crash of impact reverberates as bodies collide and tumble across the arena floor. The character in black and red stripes hits the ground hard, the force of their fall emphasizing the brutal intensity of their preparation. The muscular woman demands another punching bag with fierce determination, her frustration boiling over. Meanwhile, the two men on the couch discuss Seoul's agitation with growing concern. Jeong-gyeom's overprotectiveness has driven her to seek their father's help with training. The reality outside, firearms, armored vehicles, and constant danger, makes their worry understandable. Seoul's newfound powers burn with unused potential, creating unbearable tension. The bespectacled man dismisses concerns about his facial scar with casual indifference. Sarah's mention of the mark triggers memories of questionable medical treatment from someone with dubious skills. Their playful banter about the injury's disappearance creates a moment of levity. But the sudden dash toward an unexpected sound shatters the calm, pulling them back into the urgent reality surrounding them. The enthusiastic proclamation about being the devil from hell brings playful energy to the room. Miss Yu-jong's interruption about dinner time shifts the atmosphere to domestic normalcy. Her explanation about the father's absence tonight carries subtle weight. Meanwhile, the older man contemplates the mysterious Korean chess newcomer's impressive skills, his thoughtful expression revealing genuine puzzlement about the stranger's abilities. The older man's bewilderment about his opponent's grandmaster-level chess moves deepens his confusion. That inexplicable strategy defies all logic, leaving him questioning whether he should be the student instead. His contemplation shatters as tanks thunder across the battlefield, their rumbling engines drowning out thought. Explosions erupt with devastating force, turning strategic reflection into immediate survival as chaos consumes the landscape. The battlefield lights up with devastating power as energy surges skyward. The missile streaks through the air with lethal precision before detonating in a massive explosion. Debris scatters like deadly rain, while subsequent blasts rock the landscape. The final thunderous boom echoes across the devastation, leaving only destruction in its wake. Someone witnesses this overwhelming display of force with shocked recognition. The bespectacled man reflects on his previous restraint with explosive weapons, always mindful of protecting innocent lives. Lancelot's scouting revealed crucial intelligence. The enemy's main force operates far from their hostage locations. This separation creates the opportunity he's been waiting for. Standing among the futuristic ruins with his enhanced weapon gleaming, he prepares for a confrontation that will test the limits of his newfound power. The massive object descends from above like divine judgment, its glow illuminating the battlefield before impact. The explosion that follows dwarfs everything previous, sending shockwaves across a 100-mile radius. The young man with black hair calculates his progress. 2,000 mana stones gathered, but 10,000 needed for level 4 access to the parallel dimension. With this new power, his resource acquisition should accelerate dramatically. The screen displays a disappointing total of 1,890 mana stones, far below expectations despite the numerous dings heard during battle. Platform regulations reveal the shocking truth. 45% commission goes to Tyanatium of the Mexico dimension, with 25% claimed by High Priest Jeong-gyeom. The familiar name triggers recognition and suspicion. Someone failed to obtain crucial information while these mysterious figures profit from the chaos. The young man's surprise at the console gives way to serious discussion with the armored Lancelot. Confirmation comes that Tonutiyu led the group responsible for destroying the camps. Lancelot's concern for his master's well-being contrasts with reassurances about being unharmed. Their conversation turns to the High Priest Bong-seok-kim and the rebel group's actions, leading to pointed questions about the mysterious Mecha Dimension connection. The document reveals devastating truth about Mana Stone commissions flowing to High Priest Bong-seok-kim. The bespectacled man's serious acknowledgement contrasts with the golden-haired figure's curious engagement. Behind them, flames hint at brewing conflict. The sharp-faced character's red eyes blaze with fury as he recognizes the betrayal. Bong-seok-kim has shaken hands with their enemies. The digital alarm punctuates this moment of terrible realization. Amidst the explosive aftermath, the blonde warrior struggles to comprehend the source of such devastating attacks. No aircraft, no artillery, yet impossible ammunition rains from nowhere. His confusion deepens as he questions the origin of these phantom bombs. Suddenly, a shadowy figure strikes with crushing force, sending him tumbling across the battlefield. Even the strongest can fall when they can't identify their true enemy. The confrontation with High Priest Bong-su reaches its violent climax. The cloaked figure stands beside the wounded, shirtless man whose heavy breathing reveals his weakened state. Blood splatters paint the battle-scarred environment as the muscular man's legs shake with unexpected fear. Brutal impacts, punctuated by sickening sounds, emphasize the ferocity of this encounter. Even commanders can fall when their true nature is finally revealed. The young man's confusion about the unfolding chaos contrasts sharply with the monstrous transformation before them. The blonde creature's grotesque grin and claw-like appendages reveal his true nature as regeneration takes hold. The fiery landscape provides an appropriate backdrop for this hellish revelation. Observers note the strange sight of human and skeleton locked in combat, a battle that defies all natural order. The imposing muscular man with wild golden hair stands defiant amid the chaos, recognizing his opponent's dimensional account and 8th rank status. His proposal carries the weight of absolute confidence. Stop the destruction and leave, or face the consequences. His assertion that they cannot kill him while he can eliminate them at will reveals the power dynamic. His restraint comes not from mercy, but from calculated strategy to minimize losses. The sharp-featured blonde argues that fighting would waste precious time, while the mysterious figure claims immunity from death. The dark-haired boy questions the sudden peace offering, sensing hidden intentions behind the apparent gesture. References to human sacrifices and betrayal poison the air as the muscular character's agitation becomes visible. His eyes burn with determination as the implications of treachery become clear. Confusion spreads as dark red smoke fills the sky, transforming the very air around them. The cloaked figure and wounded man observe this ominous phenomenon while others question its meaning. The atmosphere grows thick with foreboding as a massive eye materializes within the swirling crimson clouds. A character unconsciously clutches their arm as dark energy begins to glow from within, signaling that something terrible has awakened. Under the hellish red sky, filled with swirling clouds and explosive energy, the young man stares upward in absolute terror. His heart pounds as fear courses through his body, reflected in the violent sound of his racing pulse. The massive explosion visible in the background pales compared to the abomination taking shape above them. His shocked exclamation captures everyone's horror at witnessing something that should not exist. The golden-haired man's menacing grin reveals sharp teeth as he explains the ranking restrictions that limit high-ranked beings' direct involvement. His confidence radiates as he distinguishes Lord Tonitiyu as uniquely different from others who merely sponsor from the shadows. The ominous atmosphere intensifies as he asserts his exclusive ability to invoke this powerful influence, his threatening tone making the stakes crystal clear for his shadowy opponent. The armored figure's blade cuts through flesh with devastating precision, striking down the grotesque creature that dares challenge his master's authority. The wounded beast's snarled face and sharp teeth reveal its fierce defiance even in defeat. But its mocking declaration about returning from death proves the futility of conventional attacks. The catastrophic explosion in the background signals that this battle has only just begun. Through the thick red smoke, the muscular figure glares at his armored opponent with intimidating presence. The knight's disdainful response about not wanting to understand the situation reveals his dismissive attitude. Undaunted, the wild-haired warrior smirks at being called empty-headed, his confidence unshaken. With a burst of speed, he charges forward in open defiance, ready to prove his strength against impossible odds. The armored figure draws his sword with deadly intent, changing his approach to direct confrontation. His purple and silver armor gleams as he delivers a crushing punch that sends the green-skinned monster reeling backward. Despite the creature's defiant claim that it cannot die, the knight coldly dismisses such assertions as meaningless. The fiery sky above frames this escalating battle as he prepares to prove his point with lethal force. The golden-haired man's fist glows with ominous energy as he makes his deadly promise. His confident declaration of making his enemy die sends terror through the spiky-haired creature, whose panicked plea comes too late. The brutal impacts that follow punctuate the air with violence, each strike emphasizing the futility of resistance. Sometimes power speaks with such authority that even the immortal must listen. Among the red-stained battlefield, the dark armored warrior stands resolute while the young man contemplates the ominous eye glowing in the sky. His thoughts turn to the complex problem of dismantling the creature's regenerative capabilities. A breakthrough moment sparks as he realizes there might still be a solution to this seemingly impossible challenge. Hope emerges from the ashes of apparent defeat. The urgent call to Lancelot echoes across the crimson landscape as the rugged knight is seized and prepared for transport. His startled protests fall on deaf ears as he's hurled toward a glowing portal with tremendous force. The digital interface confirms Bong-soo Kim's entry attempt into the parallel dimension, granting access to realms unknown. What awaits beyond that threshold will determine the fate of everyone left behind. Number 3 emerges through the portal into the high-tech laboratory, his surprise evident as the woman with the white ribbon greets his unexpectedly early return. The system alerts to blocked, unknown energy, but something terrible breaks through anyway. The woman's scream pierces the air as a monstrous figure lunges forward with horrific intent. Even the most secure dimensions cannot keep true evil at bay. Confusion explodes through the command room as the muscular golden-haired warrior demands answers about this mysterious intruder. The woman beside him sweats nervously, confirming their worst fears. This isn't number 3 at all. But who is this dark-haired stranger? Before anyone can react, a blood-curdling scream tears through the air from another dimension. The blue-haired commander's eyes widen in horror as he shouts the only order that matters now. The dark-armored warrior stands triumphant as his supernatural power tears Bong-soo Kim from the dimensional registry. His confident smirk speaks volumes as he taunts his defeated enemies, asking if they enjoyed witnessing their inevitable fate. The battlefield around them tells the story, red splashes painting the ground like a macabre masterpiece. Even his companion admits the terrifying truth. For a moment there, she was more frightening than the legendary Tenryu himself. A digital chime breaks the silence as ownership of a dimensional account transfers successfully. Jeong-gyeom stares in shock at the staggering number. 14,823 mana stones now under his control. His mind races as he considers Bong-soo's corrupt dealings. How much had that bastard earned from commissions alone? But then a chilling realization hits him. No messages about paying commission to Tenryu. That could only mean one thing. The starry void whispers with the sound of something vanishing into nothingness. Number 3 looks up in disbelief. It's gone. The regal armored figure beside him explains with cold certainty that Tenryu's failed descent makes another attempt unlikely. Relief floods through number 3's body as he awkwardly hits the ground, admitting he thought he might wet his pants. Sometimes the greatest victories are the disasters that never happen. Exhaustion weighs heavy on Jeong-gyeom's shoulders despite not throwing a single punch. Sweat beads on his forehead as a familiar voice calls his name from the shadows. Recognition sparks in his eyes. He knows that voice. 2 figures burst into view, one in military gear, another in armor, both gasping for breath as they ask if he's all right. Their timing couldn't be more perfect, and Jeong-gyeom's weary smile confirms they've arrived just in time. A small boy in tattered clothes runs frantically, shouting desperately about the missing I-Corps commander. Behind him, shocked soldiers stare at the aftermath, questioning what happened to their fallen comrades. Captain Jeong-gyeom Kwon steps forward with military precision, rifle slung across his back in an old-school display of readiness. His radio crackles with the report. All enemies neutralized, area secured. But the dark-armored warrior's presence suggests this victory came at a terrible cost. The soldier in camouflage speaks into his radio with practiced authority, ordering his team to remain vigilant and prioritize civilian rescue above all else. Jeong-gyeom responds with a knowing smirk, grateful for their continued efforts while making a cryptic comment about something being mummified nearby. The soldier brushes off the praise with characteristic modesty, but the shadows behind them hint that this battle's true horror is yet to be fully understood. The young man raises his hands in exasperation, admitting the painful truth about past mistakes. The soldier before him lowers his head in shame, acknowledging how foolish it was to ask him to join the military. They had tried to offer benefits, tried to do things the right way. But now, with no right to ask anything more, the soldier poses the question that burns in his heart. Would Jeong-gyeom still help those in desperate need? The man in the red jacket speaks with heavy emotion about the countless people still facing impossible challenges. Some have lost loved ones. Some lie gravely injured. Others tremble in fear, unable to escape their nightmares. He fully understands that government powerlessness has only deepened their suffering. Jeong-gyeom listens intently, his expression mixing determination with uncertainty as the weight of responsibility settles on his shoulders. A firm handshake seals their understanding as the grinning soldier extends his hand in friendship. Jeong-gyeom accepts with a simple thank you, marking this moment of cooperation amid chaos. The soldier promises to make immediate arrangements so Jeong-gyeom can receive military assistance whenever needed. His radio clicks to life, ready to relay the new alliance that could change everything in their fight for survival. The operations commander's voice booms with formal authority, recognizing Jeong-gyeom's outstanding contributions in strengthening the military and neutralizing rebel forces. In one decisive moment, Reserve Sergeant Jeong-gyeom Kim becomes Colonel Kim, granted an honorary rank that commands respect from all military personnel. The young man's shocked expression says it all. He never expected this promotion. His companion's amused reminder about military protocol adds a touch of levity to this life-changing announcement. The shadowy authority figure declares Jeong-gyeom can ignore him if he wishes, emphasizing the newfound freedom that comes with rank. The nervous young man awkwardly accepts their thanks, then realizes he's lost track of Bedivere in all this chaos. But wait, he remembers the product recall function. A mechanical warning alerts him that items beyond maximum range cannot be recalled, adding urgency to his growing list of problems. Confusion crosses Jeong-gyeom's face as he admits he didn't know the recall function worked that way. The tall, armored figure acknowledges that number 2 was literally right in front of him during the previous recall. They realize they'll have to retrieve their missing companion the hard way. But Jeong-gyeom suggests they travel together instead. He can level up packs along the journey, making this detour serve multiple purposes. A soldier cheerfully directs survivors to line up for food and water, ensuring everyone receives what they need. Meanwhile, the skeletal figure in mechanical armor rummages through scattered documents with metallic fingers. The sound of rustling papers fills the air as he discovers what he's been searching for. His skull face shows excitement as he declares he's found the document, ready to return it to his master, though he's surprised by the sheer volume of paperwork involved. A notification chimes as the parallel dimension skill reaches 45% completion. Bedivere stands proudly beside his disheveled master, confirming he discovered all this crucial information himself. Jeong-gyeom accepts the intelligence with gratitude, then stares at the application form in his hands with growing determination. His silhouette against the glowing portal suggests he's preparing to make a decision that could achieve something truly significant. The sinister man with dark hair grins confidently as he addresses number 3, claiming he's been waiting all day for this confrontation. The red-haired woman beside him responds with casual nonchalance. An anxious man in formal attire presents a dimensional being application form to a skeptical woman in black. He insists she needs to escape her current situation, believing she can handle facing opponents like him. But her uncertain expression reveals she doesn't understand the form's true purpose or implications. Jeong-gyeom startles as he realizes he forgot about something crucial, tumbling to evade an incoming attack. He rolls forward with practiced agility, his hand glowing as he activates a healing skill. Relief washes over his face as he declares how glad he is that it doesn't hurt this time. The notification confirms his level-up success, unlocking new abilities and enhanced healing effects. A triumphant moment of growth amid the chaos. The muscular figure smirks with satisfaction, taunting number 3 about getting what he deserves. The conversation shifts to the girl in white, who reminds everyone that her harsh comments are simply her way of showing brotherly affection. She explains that since number 3 is an 8th rank, Soul's attacks won't cause him any real pain. A shadowy figure agrees with her assessment. But suddenly, a look of shocked curiosity crosses her face as she wonders about Lancelot. Jeong-gyeom clutches his neck in startled confusion as the muscular woman embraces him from behind, expressing worry about their knight's strange behavior. The metallic clinking of armored hands gripping tightly fills the air with tension. 2 distressed knights writhe on the ground, one moaning in pain, while another describes an unbearable itch consuming his entire body. The woman in the lab coat asks if they're okay, but their condition suggests something far more serious than simple discomfort. The dark-haired woman suggests the sensation feels itchy and prickly, comparing it to a scab that forms during the healing process. She stands confidently beside the broad-shouldered man in his high-tech suit, sharing her theory with clinical detachment. Number 3 listens thoughtfully, processing her words about the healing mechanism. The futuristic medical facility around them hums with advanced technology designed to support life, but the mention of the parallel dimension life support system hints at complexities beyond their understanding. Realization dawns on Jeong-gyeom as he questions whether his knights are actually healing rather than suffering. His expression shows urgent confusion as he wonders what he should do about this unexpected development. He's reluctant to remove them from the parallel dimension, but the implications trouble him deeply. The thought that this might not be their original form adds another layer of complexity to his already overwhelming responsibilities. The title card reveals the Rite of Blood, a ritual designed to cultivate life forces into enchant stones. Crimson light emanates from a crystal suspended above, casting an ominous glow throughout the chamber. The air stirs with whooshing sounds as mystical energy flows through the space. A masked figure with red markings focuses intently on the unfolding process. 3 armored knights watch with growing agitation, their eyes drawn to the supernatural transformation occurring before them. Jeong-gyeom examines the glowing blue enchant stone in his palm, his brow furrowed in concentration and confusion. He speculates that this stone was created from a different time, though he can't understand how it came to be. Behind him, an armored knight listens quietly as Jeong-gyeom expresses frustration about not feeling any effect from the mysterious stone. The knight mentions bringing their companions to serve, but Jeong-gyeom remains puzzled about activation requirements he thought he understood. The dark-haired man grins broadly as he speaks positively about their partnership, emphasizing how attractive he finds their dynamic together. Multiple figures in dark attire observe quietly, while one in a flowing red cloak admits to feeling overwhelmed by their circumstances. They express gratitude for the assistance provided simply by resting. A brilliant flash illuminates the scene as the man displays a glowing blue gem in his clenched fist, the sound echoing with determination and promise. In the oppressive darkness, Jeong-gyeom grips his device as panic and determination war across his face. The massive, fiery eye looms ominously behind him, accompanied by grinding sounds that speak of imminent doom. But something shifts within him, a spark of defiant hope. His posture straightens as he turns inward, finding strength in the depths of despair. With absolute conviction burning in his voice, he declares the impossible truth that will change everything. Determination flows through every word as Jeong-gyeom declares his need to become stronger. He realizes the path forward requires complete mastery of his abilities, understanding them inside and out. His first priority, exploring the new functions unlocked by his parallel dimension's recent level up. The tactical-looking man questions the use of beings as sacrifices, but Jeong-gyeom sighs with relief, explaining that their knowledge prevents potential disaster. This cooperation could be the key to everything. The commanding officer issues orders with military precision, instructing the young soldier to request additional supplies and reinforcements from Colonel Kim. The soldier's task includes selecting an assistant and managing troop deployment. His sharp, "Yes, SIR," echoes with determination as dawn breaks over the mountainous landscape. Time becomes their enemy as the young man reflects on their overwhelming workload. A notification chime interrupts his thoughts, demanding immediate attention in this race against the clock. The stern military man studies the digital display with curious uncertainty, questioning what he's seeing. Jeong-gyeom examines the screen with growing surprise, his brow furrowed in confusion. The notice discusses an interdimensional chamber of commerce and mentions sudden increases in exploration opportunities for Earth. This reference to an interdimensional community leaves both men grappling with implications they never imagined possible. What does this mysterious development mean for their world? Jeong-gyeom's voice carries grim certainty as he declares they're basically facing a war declaration. The blonde girl asks desperately if this could all be some sick joke, but reality crushes that hope quickly. Another team member clarifies the document references an international chamber of commerce, while the brown-haired woman pieces together the horrifying truth. These chamber representatives are directly connected to the monsters terrorizing their world. The technological displays around them seem to mock their predicament. Fury explodes from the blonde character as he demands to know who these invaders think they are. Aliens treating Earth like their personal playground. His rage at being forced to fight, like slaves, echoes through the room. The brown-haired woman observes that the ICC doesn't take any of this seriously, treating their bidding war like some twisted game. Suddenly, a notification appears specifically for Jeong-gyeom Kim, announcing his confirmation as Seoul's representative based on his profit generation during the establishment period. Jeong-gyeom stares at his screen in bewilderment while his companion questions the Seoul representative announcement. Several uniformed individuals listen intently as one tries to clarify what this bidding war actually entails. The atmosphere grows heavy with tension as they realize they might be competing against alien life forms from another dimension. A holographic display materializes, asking if he agrees to become the regional representative, a decision that will determine the fate of everyone in Seoul. The shocked military man exclaims in disbelief as Jeong-gyeom calmly confirms his role as Seoul representative. With arms crossed and unwavering confidence, he explains his mission: gather 100 people to fight against alien invaders targeting their city. The weight of responsibility settles over the group as they absorb this impossible task. In the background, the woman with shoulder-length hair observes silently, her serious expression reflecting the gravity of their situation. Relief floods through the soldier as he expresses complete confidence in Colonel Kim's leadership. His strong handshake and reassuring words ease the tension that had been building. From his pocket, he produces a crucial document, a list compiled by the Joint Chiefs of Staff containing individuals with special abilities. This registry of 80 potential fighters represents their best hope for assembling the team needed to face the impossible odds ahead. The military figure swiftly pulls the notepad away, emphasizing the urgency of their situation. Jeong-gyeom requests only the best marksmen available, regardless of their supernatural abilities or lack thereof. His companion questions this specific requirement, seeking clarification about the tactical decision. The conversation reveals their strategic thinking, focusing on precision and skill rather than flashy powers. Their measured discussion takes place against storage containers, suggesting a military staging area. The brown-haired woman explains that their enemies worship a goddess named Emeth, specializing in divine power for construction and weapons. She decides to show rather than tell, accessing a saved message titled Advance Notice on the Emeth Dimension. The ethereal image of Emeth appears, angelic features surrounded by divine light, wings spread wide. But the message's tone shifts ominously as it speaks of justice descending upon primitive barbarians, revealing the true threat they face. The scene opens with divine judgment as an angelic figure covers its face in despair, the word doom looming overhead. A golden-armored soldier stands ready with sword in hand, representing Emeth's divine warriors. Light streaks down like a celestial mace, symbolizing the goddess's wrath about to strike. Another figure kneels in prayer-like submission as Lady Emeth's boundless mercy allegedly shines her eternal light. This divine theater masks the brutal reality of what's coming for Earth. The golden-armored figure raises his fists in righteous fury, declaring judgment upon the barbarians as divine light radiates behind him. His fierce expression and booming voice call for justice, proclaiming that Lady Emeth's divine mace will strike them down. The scene transitions with mechanical chimes to a holographic display showing the bidding war roster for the Emeth dimension. Names like Suram Bayer and Ramir's Henike appear in the ranks, revealing the organized nature of their supernatural opponents. The atmosphere grows heavy as characters discuss their matchup against the Templars of Emeth, formidable warriors clad in shining armor and wielding fearsome weapons. Jeong-gyeom studies the digital display, explaining the battle format they must endure. An hour before conflict begins, both sides will take positions protected by a barrier that prevents early attacks. The preparation phase becomes crucial as figures in suits and white robes position themselves for the inevitable clash. Jeong-gyeom continues his strategic briefing, gesturing toward the mystical gate core surrounded by swirling energy. The countdown timer shows 12 hours, their window of opportunity. A knight in gold and blue armor holds a mysterious red orb marked with a question mark, representing the unknown variables they face. Earth's fighters must destroy the core before it hatches, while the Emeth forces need only protect it. The tactical challenge becomes clear: offense versus defense in a race against time. The tactical discussion intensifies as one character emphasizes the dual challenge, defending against enemy attacks while advancing toward the gate core. The muscular soldier sweats with anxiety, questioning whether their conventional weapons can even damage 8th rank opponents. His doubt is palpable, written across his glistening face as he contemplates facing such overwhelming supernatural power. But his companion's confident grin and reassuring tone suggest he has solutions they haven't considered yet. Pride flickers across Jeong-gyeom's determined features as he reveals his midnight preparations. He upgraded his abilities using 1,000 mana stones, driven by the absolute necessity to become stronger. While he didn't gain entirely new skills, several existing abilities received significant enhancements. Most importantly, he can now test new items before creating them, a game-changing advantage that allows experimentation without waste. His reflection shows the weight of responsibility and the promise of innovation. Jeong-gyeom stands surrounded by floating objects as he contemplates weapon creation, wondering what type would be most effective yet easy to use. After hours of painstaking experimentation, he successfully develops an enhanced assault rifle with special resistance attributes. The sleek, futuristic weapon represents countless trials and failures. His first attempt at igniting ammunition resulted in explosive debris, but each setback taught him valuable lessons about optimizing ammunition for maximum battlefield effectiveness. Colonel Kim explains his ammunition strategy, while mystical elements swirl around floating enchant stones. He holds his modern rifle, discussing the limitations of enchanting individual bullets versus bulk preparation. His companion in Camouflage expresses genuine admiration for these tactical innovations. Together, they plan to equip elite marksmen with enchanted shells that will provide devastating attacking power while they target the gate core. Gunfire echoes as their defensive tactics take shape through rigorous practice. The blonde girl enthusiastically describes their base construction progress, with Maedo's constructability working at an impressive rate. The offensive squad has upgraded their powers using mana stones harvested from monsters, resulting in Soul creating barriers larger than her own body radius. Jeong-gyeom watches in amazement as the vibrant green barrier demonstrates their enhanced capabilities. The sibling dynamic becomes clear as he addresses her as sis, recognizing how useful these upgraded forms have become. Time accelerates relentlessly toward the inevitable confrontation as the National Assembly proceeding hall stands beneath a bright sky. A powerful sound fills the air, suggesting energy being released or mobilized for the coming battle. An armored figure moves with purpose, metallic sounds emphasizing his determined stride. 3 armored warriors position themselves at the forefront, their expressions resolute and prepared. The day of the bidding war has finally arrived. A figure in gleaming silver armor approaches with deliberate steps, gold visor reflecting the tension of the moment. He manipulates a large spherical object, the gate core, with confident precision, the slicing sound emphasizing its dangerous potential. Through binoculars, a PDF officer observes their activities while his companion questions the sighting. Their reconnaissance reveals concerning construction next to the National Assembly building, 2 mysterious structures that could change everything about this battle. Colonel Kim observes 3 uniformed individuals carrying a large protective structure, presumably to shield the gate core. His military mind assesses their construction quality, while the anxious observer holding binoculars contemplates their lack of preparation time. Heavy footsteps announce approaching figures as armored warriors take formation. Their review of Earth's roster reveals most fighters are rank 9s, with only scattered 7th and 8th ranks. A sobering reality check before the battle begins. Tension crackles at the barrier as Jeong-gyeom observes enemy forces positioned dangerously close, wondering if they'll attack immediately. The menacing armored figure with glowing red eyes speaks ominously of tearing out tongues and endless toil as atonement for sins. His threats promise literal violence, disguised as salvation. Jeong-gyeom responds with a knowing smirk and sarcastic confidence, admitting he expected nothing less from a so-called holy knight. But his expression suggests he has more to say. The commanding declaration rings out. Let the bidding war begin. The blonde warrior in gleaming armor raises his fist and shouts, "Charge!" as soldiers rally behind him, crying for Lady Emeth. Their thunderous advance shakes the battlefield as they dash forward with religious fervor. In response, the stern commander in his red hat orders his troops to open fire, and gunfire erupts across the National Assembly grounds. The battle for Seoul's survival has officially begun. Automatic gunfire rattles through the air as 3 armored soldiers in silver and blue take desperate defensive positions. One gasps in shock at their enemy's overwhelming firepower, while his companion raises his sword, shouting, "Emeth Barrier." A protective blue shield materializes around them as they brace against the onslaught. Despite their divine protection and shining armor, even these supernatural warriors feel the crushing weight of Earth's unexpected military preparation. The battle has only just begun. Behind the front lines, the military machine churns with desperate efficiency. Soldiers switch rifles with mechanical precision as Colonel Kim receives the grim report. 20% of their ammunition already spent. But his expression carries cautious hope. Things are going better than expected, he tells his team. Keep it up. An armored commander responds with unwavering loyalty, mounting his motorcycle as the engine roars to life. At the barrier, urgency explodes into action. Jeong-gyeom watches as figures dash forward with desperate speed. The golden armored warrior shouts his warning. Holding this position isn't an option anymore. The enemy's power exceeds all predictions. They must hang on just a little longer for reinforcements. But someone has already made their choice. With fierce determination, they prepare their weapon and launch it with deadly intent. The city erupts in chaos as explosions bloom across the skyline. A muscular soldier braces against the shockwave as debris rains down around him. Through the smoke and fire, an object slices through the air with lethal precision. 2 observers watch the destruction unfold, one puzzled, the other grimly satisfied. Bedveer is cutting them down the middle, he notes with cold approval. Jeong-gyeom surveys the devastation with calculating eyes. All that's left to do is... But something catches his attention. When he first saw them building that monument, he thought it was meaningless labor. The construction seemed impossible, too fast, too efficient. Then the structure erupts in a massive explosion, flames and debris consuming the angelic statues. His shocked expression says it all. This makes everything even more pointless. Ethereal energy swirls as something mystical takes shape. The young soldier gasps in disbelief. Not even a scratch after getting struck by enchanted missiles? His uniform bears the PF insignia as he processes the impossible resilience before him. A commanding presence declares that such power deserves a spot in the parallel dimension. The notification appears. Store the incomplete statue of Lady Emeth. Earth, they proclaim, is but a mere tribute to Lady Emeth. A thunderous roar echoes as tensions explode between the commanding figure and two cloaked individuals. The leader demands they spread Lady Emeth's messages to cleanse the darkness from this world. One pleads that it's too dangerous, but the commander refuses to hide. Why should they conceal their righteous mission? Jeong-gyeom, puzzled by this heated exchange, notices their surroundings, a warehouse filled with blue steel beams. Construction materials, he realizes. The malevolent grin spreads across his face as he calls out to Pax to stop. But it's too late. The system notification confirms it, storing Emeth Dimension's temporary construction materials warehouse in the parallel dimension. The hooded figure freezes mid-action, shock written across their features. Where's the warehouse? The question hangs in the air as their carefully constructed base simply vanishes. Jeong-gyeom stands beside the relaxed figure in black, who casually suggests a partnership. How would you like to operate a helicopter for me? The offer seems simple enough. Just lift him as high as possible. They share laughter at the prospect, both excited to try this aerial maneuver. But the mood shifts dramatically as a cloaked warrior appears in fighting stance, shouting, "Finish." Jeong-gyeom's expression turns to surprise. The blade slices through the air with deadly precision. The young soldier focuses intensely, electric energy crackling from his outstretched hand against the swirling clouds. Light erupts in a brilliant explosion as he engages his unseen foe. The collision of weapons rings out with metallic fury. Sword against sword, power against power. This is no ordinary battle. The very air crackles with supernatural force. The dark-haired woman in armor expresses her skepticism about their enemy's weapons. These aren't your average spears, she observes. Her shield should block even enchanted bullets. Yet something feels different about this threat. The cloaked figure with red markings listens as she questions the nature of their weaponry. Then she mentions a rumor. Once upon a time, she heard about a dimension. The word attack cuts through the tension. The elegant figure in blue cloak wields their weapon amidst intense combat, metal clashing against metal. The revelation comes through their dialogue. The construction materials withstood attacks because they've been blessed. As understanding dawns, they grip a glowing spear tightly, its radiance indicating otherworldly power. The sporty woman with short brown hair grins with excitement, recognizing the weapon's potential. It's a pretty sick weapon, she declares. Inside the helicopter, Jeong-gyeom adjusts his headset with serious focus. He observes that the enemy isn't throwing as many spears as before, a tactical shift that could mean anything. The pilot confirms takeoff, and Jeong-gyeom requests maximum altitude. Below them, the massive angel statue serves as a stark reminder of the blessing they're dealing with. The helicopter shudders with turbulence as they climb higher into the unknown. The young soldier watches the airborne object with a sly smile, remarking that this could be called a blessing in disguise. His mischievous tone suggests he knows something others don't. The sky explodes with vibrant light and energy as a supermassive blessing emanates from another dimension's battle portals. The air whooshes with tremendous force as the ultimate weapon reveals itself. They call it the Divine Staff. The impact is devastating. The structure crumbles with a tremendous crushing sound as the cloaked figure and armored woman watch in tense silence. The ethereal weapon moves with swift precision, creating massive disturbances in the environment. The ground rumbles and shakes from the tremendous force. Debris flies in all directions. And then, something sinister emerges from the chaos, a vivid red mass with an ominous eye splattering into view. Victory notifications flood in. The Earth Dimension fighters have emerged triumphant in the bidding war. Dimensional accounts are issued to all participants as 5,000 mana stones await distribution to the winning members. The short, dark-haired boy excitedly reads his rewards, already planning to register his family as 8th ranks immediately. Papers flutter around them as the group processes their hard-won success. But one serious observer watches quietly, perhaps sensing this victory comes with a price.
Jeong-gyeom stares at the mysterious document in his hand, wondering where it came from. The establishment license for the Let-Hell Dimension confirms trading privileges in the Tertius region, transferred from Emeth Dimension to Seoul's representative. Suddenly, a glowing portal materializes with a tremendous sound, causing both men to react with alarm. What's that, they wonder? A portal? The swirling gateway pulses with unknown potential and dangerous possibility.
The group gathers around the swirling pink portal, tension thick in the air. Jeong-gyeom approaches cautiously, touching the mysterious gateway as it whirs to life. The system responds immediately. Unregistered explorer detected. Please confirm license. His confusion deepens as he holds the document, glancing between it and the portal's demand. The onlookers share his bewilderment, watching as their leader grapples with this unexpected development. What does it mean to be unregistered? The offer appears on the digital screen. Sell your establishment license to the ICC for 10,000 mana stones. Jeong-gyeom stares at the proposal, his mind racing through the implications. It's a monumental sum, but frustration builds as reality sets in. He can't even use the license because he's not a registered explorer. Standing before the glowing portal, he feels the weight of his limitations. When the system asks for his decision, his response is decisive and sharp. Get lost. Rage boils over as the young man shouts about thieves and scammers, gesturing angrily at the situation. The armored figures loom in the background, their metallic presence imposing and stern. One speaks with heavy grievance about being forced into this bidding war against superior opponents. The ICC was never reasonable to begin with, they reflect bitterly. Everyone was dragged into this conflict without choice. The sound of doom echoes as another figure yells in surprise, clutching an object in distress.
Jeong-gyeom discusses the aftermath with his team, his casual demeanor masking deeper concerns. If it hadn't been for him, many people on both sides would have lost their lives. When asked about his situation, he dismisses it. Just got a good-for-nothing portal. That's all. He apologizes to his companions for their exhaustion after the fight. The group, including the tall man in black and the woman with long hair, prepares to handle the injured and move forward together.
The gray-uniformed soldier reflects on how building their base took everything out of him. The blue-haired character reacts with surprise as he surveys their surroundings. Bricks, drywall, steel frames, and rebar scattered everywhere. What is all this? The tired soldier realizes his oversight, admitting he forgot to mention something crucial. The brown-haired man's excitement is palpable as the revelation hits. These construction materials are infinite. Hope begins to bloom amid their exhaustion. Under the modern skyline, Jeong-gyeom contemplates the bidding war results. He wonders how other regions fared in the competition, knowing they should receive full results when the 12-hour time limit expires. The day transitions to night as the full moon rises, casting its pale light over the city. Anticipation hangs in the air like a hell breath. Then the notification chimes, results incoming. The moment of truth has arrived. In the dimly lit conference room, the harsh reality sets in. The black-haired man in the teal vest calls the results brutal. They didn't think it would be this bad. Most places fared horribly, with only some countries achieving a 50% win rate. The man in gray acknowledges their global disadvantage, though he notes Korea performed reasonably well. The tension breaks momentarily as a soldier enters, bowing apologetically before delivering his urgent message. Jeong-gyeom and his companions receive urgent news from the 17th Division in Incheon. The transmission brings dire reports. Their bidding war was lost, and crucial intelligence must be shared. The document reveals the harsh reality. Enemy forces are led soldiers from other dimensions, and a gate remains open in Chinatown. The atmosphere grows heavy with dread as a dark figure appears ominously, the sound of doom echoing through their tactical center. The tactical briefing reveals disturbing enemy movements. Combat ceased 2 hours before the bidding war's end, but the Lizardmen used that time to reorganize their forces into recon teams. They're planning a large-scale operation targeting Seoul. The blue-haired character listens intently as the tall commander questions the enemy's motives. Why come to Seoul? The girl in black maintains her confident posture, but uncertainty clouds their strategy. Something feels wrong about this entire situation. The map highlights the dangerous proximity between Incheon and Seoul. One city fallen to alien forces, the other where their master resides. A new rule activates. Names of regional representatives will display above winners' heads. The dark-haired young man looks surprised as his companion points out the obvious. They're talking about him, right? But strangely, no name appears above Jeong-gyeom's head. The observation triggers confused reactions from his team members. The masked figure expresses confusion over why the name isn't visible above their master's head. If Jeong-gyeom wasn't the regional representative, the entire bidding war makes no sense. Meanwhile, the young man at his laptop discovers something startling about the ICC's phased expansion strategies. His sudden exclamation suggests he's uncovered a disturbing truth. Did he literally just become a target? The pieces of a larger conspiracy begin falling into place. Around the table, the grim discussion continues. The dark-haired man compares their situation to settlers being manipulated by higher powers. The revelation that no name appears above Colonel Kim's head provides some relief. He's not an immediate target. But the masked figure gasps in sudden realization, murmuring that it can't be possible. Something critical has clicked into place, and the implications terrify him. What has he discovered that changes everything? Jeong-gyeom sits at his desk when a sudden dash breaks the tense atmosphere. He turns with surprise as a hooded figure in dark armor rushes past him. Recognition dawns as he calls out uncertainly, "Lancelot?" The skull-like mask with glowing red eyes confirms his fears. The ominous backdrop intensifies as the words Seoul materialize against the dark, tumultuous sky. The true identity of Seoul's representative has finally been revealed. The abandoned warehouse stands in stark silhouette, its shattered windows and cracked walls telling the story of civilization's collapse. A flash of bright light pierces through the darkness, illuminating the desolate structure. The chapter title appears, Hiding a Warehouse in the Apocalypse. Seoul blazes across the sky like a supernatural brand, marking this location as the center of the storm. The warehouse that started it all has become ground zero. The masked figure in the flowing black cape reacts to the brilliant flash illuminating the area. The young man in the navy hoodie makes the connection. That's why they couldn't see the results in the room. The Seoul representative's location makes it an easy target for the Lizardman to attack. He stands with his companions, processing the implications as the bright blue display confirms their worst fears. Something isn't right about this entire situation. In the dimly lit room, sweat beads on the dark-haired man's forehead as a disturbing pattern emerges. The Lizardmen reorganized their troops before the fight even ended, perfectly timed with a new rules addition. It feels like they were already prepared for this exact scenario. The younger character admits he has no idea what's happening, but the armored figure confirms their suspicions. The enemies have been operating with insider knowledge all along. The group discusses their limited options in a shadowy location. The young man in gray acknowledges that their master won't be easily defeated by these monsters, but their enemy proves more threatening than anticipated. The woman suggests switching to the parallel dimension for safety, but the man in the camouflage jacket points out they've been hoping to defend their city. The weight of responsibility hangs heavy in the air as they debate their next move. The soldier in camouflage urges caution. They must not disregard any threats. But the young man with anxious eyes places his hand over his mouth, stress evident in every gesture. When asked where they should go, he admits the painful truth. He hasn't thought of it yet. The question of optimal defensive terrain hangs unanswered. Suddenly, dark clouds gather overhead with an ominous whoosh, and three threatening figures charge forward, turning their strategic discussion into immediate peril. A strategic plan emerges around the Gawang Bridge. The location is perfect for their needs. Limited movement on the bridge itself, surrounded by crossings free from civilian casualties. Even if enemies cross different bridges, they'll have tactical advantages. The conversation shifts to their unique resources, architectural abilities combined with materials from another dimension. The group expresses growing optimism about constructing advantageous barricades using these otherworldly supplies. The muscular man reflects with nostalgic pride. He was good enough to join the javelin throw team back in school. The shimmering javelins sparkle with deadly potential as the group prepares their weapons. The hulking armored figure and the woman in black share a moment of amusement at his reminiscence. On the high-altitude platform, the dark-haired man grips his massive hammer with focused determination. The metallic clang echoes as he strikes with tremendous force. Construction proceeds with miraculous speed over the waters. The tall figure in blue robes explains their methodology. Framework first, then welded beam walls reinforced with blessed spears. Barricades designed to defend against ground attacks take shape with otherworldly efficiency. Jeong-gyeom listens with growing tension, understanding that this miraculous construction work is only possible through their unique dimensional abilities. But reflections on the water hint that danger approaches their carefully built fortress. Beneath the surface, a sleek reptilian form glides through the water with predatory grace. Reptiles are great swimmers. The text observes as the creature moves with perfect aquatic adaptation. Breaking the surface, it transitions seamlessly from water to land with swift, powerful movements. The creature counts silently. 2. As it enters the forest, the thick woods prove more expansive than anticipated. The natural maze will provide perfect cover for what comes next. General Rakis approaches the bridge with confident strides, his massive frame cutting an imposing figure against the lush landscape. The beast-like commander contemplates enemy psychology. How can they treat their foes like amateurs? Their shame will prevent them from showing themselves now, but this presents opportunities for acquisition. His subordinate reports that units are ready for attack. The Gawang Bridge looms ahead, its structure soon to become a battleground. The Grim Reaper stands at the bridge's edge, his imposing presence radiating menace as he gazes at the city skyline. The dark-haired woman grips her spear, concern evident in her expression as she looks toward the armored figure. His eyes gleam with ominous intent, reflecting the tension building in the air. Suddenly, the brown-haired young man's face fills with alarm. Oh, crap. The realization hits like lightning. The enemy is here. The moment of confrontation has arrived. Chaos erupts as enemy forces charge forward, their battle cries echoing across the construction site. For Sawhorse, they scream, dashing toward the fortified position with deadly intent. The defender's shock is palpable. When did they get so close? Orders ring out. Aim, fire. Automatic weapons chatter with staccato fury as soldiers unleash hell upon the approaching horde. The sound of impact and screams fills the air as the first wave crashes against their defenses. The underwater assault begins as blue-skinned creatures move with lethal precision through the churning water. A desperate warning echoes above the chaos. Watch out. They're shooting Emeth materials at us. The sacred weapons of fallen brothers and sisters turned against their creators. Sir Rakis leads the aquatic charge as blades slice through water with metallic fury. These watchers use blessed materials as instruments of war. The intelligence of their enemies must not be underestimated. Iada charges in a battle with tremendous force, his war cry echoing across the vibrant cityscape. The name is Iatu, he declares as explosions rock the urban battlefield. General Rakis emerges with earth-shaking power, his muscular form and razor-sharp claws promising devastation. "Who will dare to stand against my wrath?" he roars, crashing through debris like an unstoppable force of nature. The flash of light and thunderous impact mark the beginning of something far more dangerous than either side anticipated. The bloody beast attacks with savage fury, its massive jaws creating a gush of destruction. But the Grim Reaper remains unimpressed. How impressive, but not even close. Even two 7th-rank beings pose no real threat to his power. The armored figure gestures dismissively at the straightforward charging style, recognizing the beast's lack of technique. His attention turns elsewhere, toward a more significant threat lurking in the distance. The real danger lies over there. The cloaked figure urges focus as battle preparations intensify. The armored warrior steps forward with determination, while a blue-scaled creature appears with menacing eyes. A swift movement produces a dynamic whoosh as combat erupts with metallic clashes. When someone expresses concern for Sir Rakis, he reassures them calmly. The charge must continue. Despite the chaos surrounding them, his confidence remains unshaken as the battle reaches its critical phase. In the urban battlefield, the cloaked warrior in white and gold faces his opponent with quiet confidence. The blue-skinned creature acknowledges his skills. The direct charge into enemy territory and decisive strike attempt prove impressive. When asked for his name, the warrior replies simply, "Lancelot." The beast responds with equal respect, introducing himself as Rakis. Two warriors recognizing each other's worth, even as they prepare for a duel that only one will survive. Iada challenges his lizard-like opponent with confident bravado. It's a warrior's nature to duel against formidable opponents, he declares to Lancelot. The blue humanoid accepts the challenge. If Iada has no regard for his own life, he'll gladly engage. Iada laughs at his opponent's excellent attitude, questioning whether he plans to fight from the back of his mount. The tension builds as both warriors display fierce determination for the duel ahead. What an excellent attitude indeed. The cloaked figure expresses confidence in their superiority. They're making loud sounds because they're risking their lives. The ominous red background emphasizes the looming threat as doom echoes through the air. A skeletal warrior engages with a muscular opponent in fierce combat. But the balance shifts as two soldiers in tactical gear open fire with devastating accuracy. Their automatic weapons chatter with lethal precision as a new creature leaps into the escalating conflict. The cloaked figure shouts urgent warnings as monsters attempt to scale their fortification. They're trying to climb the fort. The soldier screams, opening fire with desperate intensity. Automatic weapons unleash torrents of bullets as a monstrous creature with razor-sharp teeth lunges forward menacingly. One soldier's agonized scream pierces the air, ARGH, as claws find their mark. Another warrior falls, the cry "man down," echoing across the battlefield. Their fortress is being overrun. The cloaked warrior dashes across the urban battlefield, commanding his allies to carry the wounded and provide covering fire. Three armed figures take defensive positions as more enemies approach. There's no time to hesitate. The warrior's blade cuts through the air with lethal precision. His sword finds its mark with a decisive stab, the sounds of impact and struggle filling the air. But even as he strikes, the enemy retaliates, and the warrior is thrown back by the tremendous force of the collision. The brown-haired warrior in his sleeveless black shirt declares his intent with fierce determination. "I'll take on the ones around the building," he shouts, his muscular frame moving with deadly precision. His arm bulges with raw power as he prepares to strike. The sound of his counterattack echoes through the urban battlefield, thwack, as he proves his combat prowess against the approaching enemies. Chaos erupts as gunfire flashes across the battlefield. Fire away as soldier screams. The woman in tactical gear rushes to aid the wounded, her healing abilities manifesting as green energy flows from her hands onto an injured soldier's grimacing form. But danger lurks. A monstrous fish-like creature screeches as it lunges forward. A sharp weapon flies through the air, creating an explosive impact that sends debris flying. The cloaked figure rides atop a massive dragon-like beast, soaring through the sky with a graceful whoosh. Below, his ally strikes with precision, shulk, as their blade finds its mark. The beast crashes down, and the cloaked warrior lands with a relieved phew, but his ally, panting and stressed, reveals the harsh truth. It doesn't look like I can handle them alone. Hope flickers in his voice as he whispers, I hope he'll come soon. A massive figure with dark skin and reptilian features rises from the dust, his gray suit stretched tight across his muscular frame. The cloaked warrior observes with shadowy focus, taunting his opponent. Very impressive, but do you not have anything better? The battle intensifies with thunderous clangs and thuds. A calm observer in dark clothing watches the relentless barrage, noting the creature's lack of intelligence with satisfaction. The brown-haired warrior stands victorious but uncertain, having immobilized his opponent. I've pretty much immobilized him, but what now? He laughs nervously, unsure of his next move. Should he wait for Lambert's return? Suddenly, his companion notices something extraordinary in the distance. Wait, is that? The tension shifts as a muscular blue-skinned warrior appears, wielding a legendary holy spear, ready to join the fray. A massive sword crashes down with earth-shaking force. The blue-skinned creature, fierce eyes blazing, stands in a dynamic pose showcasing his muscular frame. His voice drips with mockery. How long do you plan on running away? The hidden opponent expresses disbelief. They had expected a valiant warrior, not this taunting beast. The creature boldly counters. I'd like to counter with my own remarks. The war-torn landscape bears witness to this mounting confrontation. The cloaked warrior grips his ornate sword, armor gleaming, his face marked with uncertainty beneath red markings on his helmet. But he's not wrong, he admits grimly. His expert recognizes the danger of his opponent's weapon, something special, far more dangerous than expected. It possesses properties like the weapons from the High-Moth dimension. The reptilian creature looms nearby with its own formidable blade, underscoring the mortal threat ahead. In the dimly lit technological space, the reptilian figure's tension is palpable. His sarcastic tone cuts through the air as he questions whether his opponent's weapon compensates for subpar skills. The red markings on his face signal his readiness for conflict. His dismissive reply reveals his cunning. I'm not such a fool that I'd play along twice. The power struggle between these two forces reaches a critical juncture in this futuristic arena. The brown-haired warrior's gloved hand releases a projectile, dart, hurling through the urban air. His armored opponent in blue executes a swift evasion with a sharp wish. Their weapons clash in a thunderous clang, sparks flying between them. The ground erupts under the strain as debris tumbles through the air. Without missing a beat, the young warrior launches himself forward with another quick dart, preparing for his next devastating move. The blue-skinned creature readies for battle as supernatural energy swirls around them. The heavily armored warrior with his white helmet and flowing dark cape announces with grim finality, "It's over." He lunges forward as their swords meet in a resonating clank, sparks dancing between the colliding blades. The warrior's determined expression contrasts with the creature's intense focus as they lock in a battle that teeters on the edge of resolution. The silver-armored figure observes as the massive blue creature with striking pink scales raises its arms in alarm. What's happening? It shouts in confusion. Energy pulses create swirling effects as a circular portal forms. Below, Jeong-gyeom in his black suit examines the results with satisfaction. Use 23k mana stones to store the item, he notes with relief. Well, that worked. The atmosphere crackles with mystical energy and underlying triumph.
Jeong-gyeom stands confidently, asserting his authority over the situation. I don't know why you guys have the Emeth's weapons, he declares. The reptilian figure responds with a menacing grin, sensing potential conflict brewing. Against the backdrop of advanced urban architecture, the armored figure shows mixture of anger and disbelief. The conversation grows heavy with arrogance and impending danger as Jeong-gyeom coolly states he'll put the construction materials to good use. The massive gray-skinned creature's irritation boils over. Do not speak of what you don't know, he roars. The silver-armored figure retorts sarcastically. Is this a joke? Tension crackles between them as the creature dismisses his opponent as a pathetic rat who knows nothing about honor. The armored warrior moves forward with assured confidence. A sharp shing hints at weapons being drawn, intensifying the atmosphere in this modern urban confrontation. The blue-skinned creature grins menacingly, his animalistic features twisted in cruel anticipation. Whether you are decapitated or beaten with my fists, the result is the same, he threatens. The heavily armored figure remains unfazed, calmly responding. You've got a big mouth for someone who was about to die just now. The creature shifts with predatory agility. Dart, step, as the ominous sound done Diwen foreshadows the impending clash. On a rooftop overlooking the bustling city, the muscular blue creature with pink scales prepares for battle, spear in hand. The cloaked figure declares with finality, time to fight. The creature reacts with confusion before swinging his weapon, connecting with powerful strikes. POW. Thwack. Meanwhile, a worried observer in white and gray discovers something incredible on his screen. Whoa, look at this thing. It's Raki's Holy Spear +3, a legendary weapon of immense power. The epic spear illuminates on the holographic display, revealing its divine nature as a holy weapon blessed by the goddess Emeth. The scene shifts to reveal a massive gray creature with powerful features and narrowed yellow eyes. It hisses menacingly, exuding raw malevolence. The creature questions its opponent's sudden hesitation, suggesting psychological warfare. Have you become petrified in fear of my immense strength? The misty battlefield amplifies the looming danger. The gray creature erupts in hearty laughter. I'm not surprised. After all, I'm brick like a brick, he boasts amid the stormy environment with dynamic raindrops. Another figure reflects on fearsome warriors, showing respect and caution. The creature continues his intimidation. You will soon perceive your inability to stop my charge. Movement occurs with a threatening WHOS in the background. Finally, he delivers an ominous promise. When the time comes, I shall come for your neck. The blue creature lunges forward with weapon in hand, landing a precise stab that echoes through the air. Suddenly, confusion washes over its reptilian features as it feels an unexpected presence. Its eye widens in shock as it recognizes Raki's holy spear piercing through its own arm. Why is his spear piercing my hand? Blood drips steadily. Drip, twitch. Yet the creature continues its relentless advance with fierce determination, accompanied by a vibrant swoosh. The massive blue creature crashes onto the rooftop with a resounding thud, dark blood streaming down its scaly body. Pain contorts its features as it groans, UGHHH. Suddenly, digital notifications flash across the scene. Dimensional account ownership has been transferred, revealing 1,667 total mana stones. An enchant stone appears as a glimmering red gem, its ghost attributes clearly displayed. The mixture of physical struggle and mystical power transfer creates an atmosphere of triumph and newfound strength. Gunfire erupts in bright flashes, rat-t-t-t-t, as weapons unleash their deadly payload.
A monstrous shark-like creature with vibrant blue eyes lets out a terrifying escary, its razor teeth gleaming. The girl with long dark hair surveys the aftermath, noting that the threat has been neutralized. That's all of them. And the buildings are safe, she reflects. But her moment of relief is short-lived as a distant sound reaches her ears. Why do I hear a wyvern overhead? Panic strikes the young man as he gasps in horror, sweat beading on his worried face. Oh crap! Bedivere, he shouts with urgent concern. The scene shifts to a distant landscape where towering pillars stretch under a bright sky. A sword slices through the air with a sharp swish. The gray creature's menacing yellow eye sockets glow as he waits with predatory patience. His voice carries ominous weight. You're late. The contrast between earlier laughter and current menace signals a pivotal moment. An ominous figure shrouded in shadow delivers a taunting message to the blue-skinned creature. But it's a shame. I left none for you. The voice echoes with cruel satisfaction. The muscular beast prepares for attack, its fierce eyes blazing with determination. The chaotic environment erupts as wave-like motion creates a thunderous whoosh, followed by an explosive crash that conveys devastating power and impact. The entire battlefield trembles under the force of this supernatural confrontation. The injured blue creature, dark blood streaking its scaly skin, engages in fierce combat with a hooded figure in silver mask and dark armor. Pow! The creature receives a powerful blow to its side, gritting its teeth in pain. The hooded warrior demonstrates deadly agility, their swift movement creating a sharp thwack as they make contact. Energy pulses between them as both fighters convey focused intensity. A bright flash illuminates the creature's vulnerable eye, emphasizing the brutal stakes of this rooftop battle. The armored warrior prepares to attack, dart, aiming with deadly precision. The massive reptilian beast roars in agony as the strike connects with a bone-crushing smash. Its face twists in pain, while another devastating blow lands with a thunderous thwack. Fear flickers in the creature's wide eyes as it reels back from the relentless assault. The armored figure stands firm before their intimidating opponent as another crushing strike, wham, continues the merciless barrage through the smoke-filled battlefield. The blue-armored warrior tumbles to the ground with exhausted huffs, his muscular frame showing evident strain. The open street stretches before them as an ominous figure in flowing white cape and tied-back hair steps forward menacingly. Any last words? The voice asks with chilling finality. The fallen warrior gazes back through his exhaustion, managing to speak with effort and respect. It was a magnificent fight. Warrior. Even in defeat, honor remains between these combatants. The dark-armored figure with glowing red eyes and flowing cape strikes down with devastating force. Slam, smash, thwack. The brutal sounds echo as the blue creature writhes in agony on the ground. Blood splatters dramatically across the cracked flooring with a sickening splat. A gloved hand drips crimson as the mysterious victor stands above his defeated foe. Yes, it was, he acknowledges grimly. The decrepit arena bears witness to this moment of triumph and doom. In the aftermath of fierce battle, a soldier in gray helmet breathes relief. Phew, it's over, he sighs as his dark-armored companion expresses concern. I'm glad you're all right, sir. The war-torn cityscape reveals devastation around a tall building. The lieutenant general reflects on their recent struggle, noting they've secured a point from the main area. A menacing lizard-like creature emphasizes the truth. The lizardmen were formidable opponents. The threat still lingers as these creatures can emerge again. Inside the helicopter, two men prepare for their crucial mission. The dark-haired operative in his headset and black jacket discusses strategy with his lighter-haired partner in sunglasses and stylish coat. What we need is information, he states with focused determination. The pilot announces their arrival as they approach their destination. They need every detail about their adversaries to strike first this time. The blurred landscape below signals their imminent deployment into dangerous territory. Soldiers stand at rigid attention as their commanding officer shouts, 10 HUT. The troops salute as Colonel Jeong-gyeom Kim arrives, tall, authoritative, with light brown hair and dark military uniform. The formal atmosphere creates awkward tension as one nervous soldier wishes the rigid protocol would stop. Another soldier with dark hair engages more naturally with the colonel, establishing rapport and conveying respect. The sunset reflects off nearby buildings, highlighting this crucial military gathering. In the modern office space, tension fills the air as strategic conversation unfolds. The confident man in dark jacket stands with arms crossed, his slight smirk conveying authority. His concerned companion in button-up shirt displays worry as they discuss the ultimate general's absence due to urgent Joint Staff Headquarters business. The mention of recent buses attacking their headquarters heightens the stakes. The urgent discussion of the gate core implies a critical issue demanding immediate attention. In the dimly lit room, Colonel Kim, in his dark camouflage jacket, taps the map with frustration. He explains how muddy substances emerged from an untraceable gate after the border war ended. His companion with dark hair looks perplexed, questioning mud. The colonel's expression shows concern as he suggests visual evidence would better explain the situation. He reaches into his pocket, producing photographs that reveal the troubled area's mysterious condition. The photographs reveal a stark post-apocalyptic landscape where nature has reclaimed civilization. Overgrown vegetation covers dilapidated buildings like a massive swamp. The area around the gate is completely obscured, creating navigation nightmares. But hope emerges as the dark-haired man mentions having buddies capable of maneuvering through such treacherous terrain. A robotic figure with metallic mask and glowing red eyes scans the information, adding an ominous technological presence to their capabilities and intentions. The imposing knight in ornate silver and gold armor apologizes to his lord. "I'm sorry, my lord, but it will be difficult," he states with serious concern. The young man in casual clothing asks why, his expression showing worry. The knight's towering presence contrasts with his companion's relaxed posture as solutions are discussed. Hope emerges when a mysterious voice suggests, "I know of one fellow who is quick and stealthy no matter where he is." The young man's intrigue grows as he contemplates this potential solution. A digital interface flashes with mystical energy as enchant stones and mana stones are consumed to appoint Mordred as one of the 12 Knights of Camelot. The man in sleek black steps forward with purpose. Step. A hooded figure raises his hands in ritualistic gesture, pledging his allegiance. "I, Mordred, stand here in answer to my master's call," he declares solemnly. Enveloped in ethereal light, Mordred appears in full dark armor, his cape billowing with majestic power. FSH. Mordred's shadowy figure with glowing eyes looms ominously in his dark cloak. A middle-aged man with stubble discusses the assassin's unique skills: infiltration, assassination, thievery. Unlike traditional knights who fought on open battlefields, Mordred possessed special abilities. The scene turns deadly as a knife plunges with a chilling stab, blood splattering across the floor. The man gasps for help as panic erupts. "Your Grace." His Grace, the Duke has been assassinated. The richly adorned room witnesses this brutal demonstration of Mordred's lethal capabilities. The cloaked figure stands with ethereal presence as his deadly skill is revealed. Mordred's Fade ability allows him to become completely invisible in an instant, yet he doesn't actually disappear, making him vulnerable to external forces. A muscular character demonstrates this by striking and attacking Shadow with tremendous force. PON. The impact emphasizes how Mordred can still be influenced by the physical world despite his invisibility. This balance between supernatural power and physical vulnerability creates intriguing tactical possibilities. The knight reflects on the significance of the enchant stone used to formally appoint Mordred, a glowing red ghost attribute stone that enhances assassination abilities. The mystical implications become clear as the atmosphere grows ominous with DUN sound effects. In the modern setting, the young man prepares to give crucial instructions to his assembled team. Two men, one in military attire, another in casual clothing, respond with respectful "Yes, my lord." The knight's earlier concerns now influence their strategic planning. In the office environment, a hooded figure explains their mission parameters. They must locate the gate core of the lizard men from the Savros dimension. The armored listener acknowledges with serious understanding, while digital interfaces display urgent mission details. The cloaked figure's authority commands respect as he emphasizes the weight of their responsibilities. Keep in mind that the survival of this operation depends on your survival, he warns gravely. The armored veteran's experience reassures them of his capability to handle complex operations. The shadowy figure ominously declares, "I will be back soon," before departing. In the bright modern location, the young man with short black hair smiles confidently. He seems pretty reliable. But his middle-aged companion with sweaty brow expresses concern about sending the assassin alone. The armored figure reaffirms their trust in the skilled knight of Camelot. "All we have to do is wait," the young man reassures. Yet lingering doubts hang in the air as they settle in for Mordred's return. The cloaked figure in gray armor with golden accents reveals crucial information about their weapons' capabilities. The young man in light blue shirt expresses surprise and intrigue, sweat beading on his anxious face. "I didn't know you could do that," he exclaims. The armor can regenerate indefinitely within Camelot, even if completely destroyed. This revelation explains their subordination through his ownership of Camelot itself. The modern city environment frames this discussion of mystical possibilities within their technological reality. The caped figure elaborates on a new enchant stone created specifically for damage regeneration, highlighting its potential usefulness. Suddenly, Lancelot appears with intricate armor, blue cape, and distinctive red-marked helmet. His sword creates a sharp shing as he draws it, acknowledging his lord's suggestion. But the atmosphere shifts dramatically as ominous red eyes flash on screen, indicating immediate danger. The young man calls out "Lancelot," in confusion as the knight senses an unseen threat. Somebody is watching us. The nervous man in blue jacket and glasses whispers anxiously about possible lizard men hiding nearby. His expressions show mounting concern as he glances around frantically. The menacing armored figure with glowing red eyes turns sharply, embodying pure intimidation. The atmosphere intensifies with rapid DU sound effects indicating heartbeats or sudden movement. "I will make quick work of them." The armored character mentally prepares for action. Yet no signs of presence can be detected in this seemingly empty area. Panic grips the young man as he frantically searches. "Lancelot, where'd you go?" he shouts in the bright modern space. His gaze falls on a shadowy figure moving menacingly forward. The cloaked assassin declares his purpose. "I only serve to protect my master and his companions." The protagonist realizes with shock. He's gone. The figure warns ominously about deciding his fate. "How you respond will decide whether you live or die by my blade." He draws his weapon, ready for confrontation amid the uncertainty. The gray-armored figure with golden accents issues commands while preparing for interrogation. Their menacing red eyes glow with intimidation as they confront their prisoner. The young man in blue jacket hears screaming and expresses urgent concern. Another character in green shirt is held against the wall, distress evident on his face as he's questioned about spying. "Why were you hiding and watching us?" the interrogator demands. The urban environment of Camelot witnesses this tense confrontation. The formidable armored figure vows to uncover the traitor's identity, his bulk enhanced by white and gray armor with glowing red eyes. The young man with glasses lies against debris, fear and urgency etched on his face as he coughs and calls out Jeong-gyeom. His companion in green attire watches anxiously. The armored interrogator expresses outrage at someone speaking his master's name in vain. He leans closer menacingly, promising unimaginable pain. The urban devastation frames this high-stakes confrontation. The overwhelmed man in blue gasps, recognizing the armored figure addressing his lord. The intimidating being with red eyes and flowing blue hair suggests a terrifying presence. Sweat drips down the protagonist's face as he struggles to understand. "I don't really know what's going on," he manages to say. Suddenly, another voice proclaims, "That guy is my friend," amplifying the tension. A swift swish hints at unseen movement, leaving the protagonist shocked and gasping. "What?" The dimly lit setting adds to his growing confusion. In a desolate area overrun by nature, remnants of civilization barely peek through thick vines and overgrowth. A large blue lizard man with muscular build and fierce expression surveys the territory, shadows indicating lurking dangers. The narrator reveals that lizard men pride themselves on dying honorably in battle. A mysterious purple-cloaked figure, covered in blood to mask their scent, prepares for infiltration. The blood disguise allows them to hide effectively from the lizardmen's sensitive noses. "Now it's time to intrude," they declare as tension builds.
In the vast tunnel system, the purple-cloaked figure moves stealthily through shadows while confused voices echo about the tunnel's excessive size. A pale woman with turquoise hair questions the inefficient construction. Her muscular, bald companion wonders about the purpose of such width. Their speculation suggests something abnormally large once used these passages. A swift swish indicates movement, raising tension about what massive entity might still lurk in these cavernous underground spaces. The muscular humanoid with spiky hair and protruding snout steps cautiously through the shadowy cave, his half-naked tattooed torso visible in the dim light. A dark purple tendril pulses threateningly nearby, emanating dangerous energy. He expresses relief, noting that it almost touched him but wasn't too close for comfort. The threatening presence of the supernatural tendril adds palpable danger to his careful navigation. Funch and repeated step sound effects emphasize his cautious progress through this perilous underground environment. Mordred appears as a shadowy figure with skull mask, surrounded by swirling supernatural energy, FWM. A muscular green-skinned orc in blue shorts walks anxiously alongside a translucent purple ghost through the rough cavern path. The ghost reflects on his near-death experience. "I may have died if it weren't for the ghost ability." Determination fills his ethereal voice as he declares, "I must find the gate code with haste and return to Master." A distant flame flickers on the wall as smoke fills the air, suggesting further dangers ahead. Previously, the group had left Mordred in the underground tunnels, but something else stirs in these dark depths. A mischievous purple creature bounds toward a grumpy old man, its sharp-toothed grin contrasting with his obvious irritation. The creature's playful nature clashes with the scholar's serious demeanor as he grips his research book tightly. But this isn't mere annoyance. Their exchange hints at something deeper. A deal between them. In the shadowy tunnels, tension builds between two figures. The bald man with his bushy gray beard waves dismissively, claiming he only used to spread rumors, nothing more harmful. But Silzen, the purple-cloaked mage, cuts deeper. He reminds the man of harsh truths. Once a powerful mage of arcane magic, now reduced to a shell of his former self. Exiled, dependent on others. The sound of movement echoes through the darkness. The confrontation escalates as the armored figure's yellow eyes gleam menacingly in the shadows. The bald man tries to assert dominance, warning his opponent to know his place, unless he wants every bone in his body crushed. But faced with such overwhelming presence, he quickly backs down. Meanwhile, the purple-cloaked figure observes, realizing this old man was never Alexandrin. Something far more mysterious lurks beneath the surface. Questions multiply in the cavern's oppressive atmosphere. The shadowy skull-masked figure commands attention, while the muscular orc walks cautiously alongside his ghostly companion. Speculation runs wild about the figure's connection to the lizard men and the tentacled creature he communicates with. Authority, weight, leadership. But confusion strikes
as sweat drips from the orc's brow. Something suddenly swipes at him from the darkness. FWAP. The mischievous creature pushes too far. The old man's patience snaps as he delivers a swift slap, the sound echoing through the cave. The purple imp tries to escape with a quick yank, but the scholar's golden eyes blaze with fierce intensity beneath his dark hood. Magical energy begins building around him, a menacing hiss of power gathering. The creature realizes its mistake too late. Something terrible is about to unfold. The cloaked man's head snaps left, startled by an unnerving sound. His bearded face twists with surprise and concern as he processes what he's heard. A reptilian eye glints in the shadows, an unseen threat lurking nearby. His response is terse and immediate. Yeah, we have an intruder. His hands tense as he grips a mystical weapon, activating it with red glowing energy. The weapon hums to life with dynamic sound effects, illuminating his determined expression. Magic erupts in the cavern as a swirling red energy manifests, a magic missile cutting through the air. The armored figure stands ready, prepared for the incoming spell's devastating impact. But then, the scene shifts dramatically. A young man in a suit and glasses smiles mischievously in a completely different setting. His casual question about picking something from a dumpster creating a jarring contrast to the magical violence that just unfolded. In a bustling classroom, teenage conversations flow around gaming frustrations and social dynamics. One boy recalls his first year of junior high, watching another struggle with malfunctioning game controls. The "you died" scream mocks the frustrated player while his bespectacled classmate smirks nearby, clearly enjoying better success. Background chatter fills the air as students discuss wealth and status. The atmosphere buzzes with the typical energy of school life, competitive, judgmental, yet strangely innocent. The conversation turns to money and privilege. Well-dressed students sit around tables, discussing a wealthy acquaintance with casual indifference. One suggests money is all anyone really needs, while another admits he's not jealous of their rich classmate. Meanwhile, one student remains detached from the discussion, focused entirely on his handheld game. The sound effects of his gaming, pew-pew, create a playful backdrop to their more serious reflections on friendship and materialism. The school hallway becomes a hunting ground. 3 bullies corner a boy with glasses, their intentions clear as they examine his phone with predatory interest. They comment on his family's wealth with sneering smiles, demanding whatever they want from him. The victim apologizes desperately, but hostility escalates. A sharp POW echoes through the corridor as violence erupts, followed by the sound of stomping. From a distance, another student watches with growing concern, contemplating intervention. Swift justice cuts through the tension. A powerful blow lands with FWIP and smack as one bully crouches in pain, his blue jacket now disheveled. Another boy looks back in startled confusion, unsure what just happened. A third student runs toward the scene with fierce determination etched on his face. He reflects on his actions. He didn't intend anything extreme, but felt compelled to demonstrate his anger against those who mocked him for his financial status. The confrontation spirals out of control. A nervous student clutches his bag, sweat beading on his forehead as an older boy in a blazer questions his friendship with a first year. The interrogation turns violent in an instant. A swift, powerful strike sends the victim tumbling backward. The aggressor continues his assault, stomping on the fallen student while a shocked bystander with glasses watches in disbelief. The classroom witnesses raw brutality as social hierarchies are enforced through violence. In the chaotic school corridor, violence reaches its peak. A well-built young man prepares to deliver a devastating punch to another student in a beige vest, the motion cutting through air with deadly precision. A close-up reveals his clenched fist, promising brutality. A dark-haired observer in a red jacket watches with unexpected admiration, recognizing true strength when he sees it. This moment crystallizes his respect for someone called Soul, whose reputation for power is legendary in their area. A girl with long hair and a confident red outfit suddenly intervenes, grabbing one of the antagonistic boys by the arm. The victim, a dark-haired boy in a pinstripe shirt, looks confused and frightened as his tormentor mentions mandatory morning exercises. but the girl's presence changes everything. One of the boys recognizes her, addressing her as sister while she apologetically introduces herself. The revelation that she's Soul's little brother shifts the entire dynamic from menacing to unexpectedly familial.
The bullies retreat with warnings, "Go home, stop wandering around, don't bother them again." The boy in the blue jacket remains shaken, caught in a moment of painful hesitation. Another student in a black jacket approaches the crouched victim with what might be concern. But it's the emotional aftermath that hits hardest. One boy with reddish-brown hair and glasses reflects with watery eyes on how this traumatic incident brought them together. Sometimes the worst moments forge the strongest bonds. Two students navigate the complex terrain of friendship and collaboration. The black-haired boy with glasses questions why he needs help, confused about his classmates' superior gaming performance despite playing together constantly. His brown-haired friend attributes it simply to talent. As they discuss their struggles and future prospects, the conversation shifts from hostility to potential partnership. The atmosphere evolves from tension to budding camaraderie as they consider working together on future projects. In a more relaxed setting, a well-built student holds a drink while expressing disbelief at his friend's revelation. Sweat beads on his forehead as he processes what he's heard. His companion with glasses seems more at ease as they discuss sports and family dynamics. The conversation reveals that one of their sisters is extreme in her athletic pursuits. There's also mention of Minwoo, who has apparently become seriously dedicated to sports since high school, a transformation that surprises his friends. The mood darkens as two boys sit at a classroom table, discussing a troubling situation. The boy with glasses and green shirt explains that someone won't listen and is doing something voluntarily that makes others uncomfortable. They're talking about an absent friend who apparently can never forgive himself for past actions. The conversation takes an ominous turn when a dark figure with glowing red eyes observes from the shadows, commenting mockingly on the pathetic nature of guilt and self-punishment. A massive knight in heavy armor expresses profound regret, his red glowing eyes reflecting deep shame. He admits his failure as a protector, how he tried to kill someone who was actually his master's ally, even best friend, when his duty was to protect that person with his life. This tragic blunder weighs heavily on his conscience. Meanwhile, other students discuss the situation, with a blonde boy in a teal vest showing concern about how their friend ended up in this position. Two students continue their quiet, serious conversation about someone's well-being. The brown-haired student in a green polo states that she's fine, while his companion responds with uncertain probably. The scene transitions dramatically with a whirl sound effect, revealing a sunset over a dilapidated building. The mood plunges into despair as the scene cuts to an open can with a spoon, then to someone curled up on the floor next to empty bottles, a stark image of isolation and self-destruction. Reality shatters like glass. A young man with glasses lies confused on the ground, startled by sudden crashes, shatter, and clunk echoing through what should have been a normal room. Through the chaos emerges an impossible figure, Lancelot, captain of the Knights of Camelot, standing in golden armor with an elaborate cape. His regal bearing commands attention as he introduces himself, asking if this might be Mr. Kim's brother. The boy can only stare in bewilderment at this warrior who has just materialized from legend into his mundane world. The boy in a blue shirt sits bewildered on his kitchen floor, asking what's happening to this impossible situation. The narrative shifts to explain Minwoo's tragic story. After the apocalypse, he volunteered for the bridging war, desperate to reunite with his mother. He fought with everything he had, clinging to hope that victory would bring them together again. But the cruel truth cuts deep. They lost. His sacrifice, his hope, his desperate fight, all for nothing.
The aftermath of defeat brings new horrors. The barrier that separated Minwoo from his mother has disappeared, but the terraformed landscape creates different obstacles. A cloaked figure explains the grim reality. The terrain itself makes approach difficult, though his mother is likely still alive. When asked if this is true, the response offers no comfort. Just because the terrain isn't dangerous doesn't mean it's safe. These words carry the weight of impossible choices and the price of survival. In the foggy wasteland, an armored figure contemplates the weight of his mission. The massive knight in gleaming armor holds his sword, his thoughts heavy with the difficulty ahead and the temptation for vengeance. A brown-haired young man clings to his back, anxious but determined. The knight reflects on avoiding past mistakes, when suddenly a voice cries out, "Captain," from the distance. His glowing red eyes turn with curiosity as a shadowy figure approaches through the mist. Mord emerges from the shadows, his yellow eyes glowing with urgency beneath his dark mask. The cloaked figure warns they need to hurry. Their pursuers are right behind them. The armored captain processes this alarming news as rumble sound effects suggest approaching danger. In the background, a wild voice shouts orders to catch that little rat and prevent his escape. The chase is on, and time is running out. Every second counts in this deadly pursuit through the wasteland. The boy clings desperately to Mordred's armored form, crying out in pain as destruction surrounds them. The heavily armored knight with glowing red eyes remains focused despite the chaos, his silver and gold armor gleaming against the backdrop of devastation. A voice calls out, "Mordred, you fool," suggesting criticism of his actions. As rumbling continues, someone questions how many seventh-branded enemies they're facing. The tension mounts as a cloaked figure addresses Mordred directly, preparing for an impossible confrontation. Intelligence proves elusive as a cloaked figure admits he couldn't determine their enemies' numbers. The masked warrior with glowing red eyes declares grimly, "This is bad." The weight of an impossible decision hangs in the air. Someone dashes through the terrain with desperate urgency, while firm words cut through the chaos. A decision must be made. Mordred receives critical instructions. Return no matter what, so their master gets intelligence on the enemy. The mission parameters have just shifted dramatically. The cloaked figure with glowing yellow eyes makes a desperate plea, expressing concern for a young woman's safety while stating his crucial mission. He's leaving her in the armored figure's care, the weight of responsibility heavy in his words. The armored captain gestures with authority, declaring there's no time to waste. Though reluctant, the cloaked figure accepts with understood before dashing away through the foggy landscape. The sacrifice of separation cuts deep, duty demanding they split when unity offers strength. Mord grips his sword with unwavering determination as the hulking armored figure advances toward battle. The sound of rush accompanies their desperate movement as they prepare to engage the enemy. Despite overwhelming odds, courage burns bright. He declares he has no fear, that he has come to prove himself as a knight. His grip tightens on the weapon as sunset paints the battlefield in golden light. This is his moment of truth, where honor meets destiny in the crucible of combat. A dark figure steps forward through the swirling debris and smoke, their flowing garment and powerful stance radiating absolute determination. Through the chaos of recent destruction, their purpose remains crystal clear. They speak with unwavering devotion. Everything they do is for their master. Each word carries the weight of absolute loyalty. The sound of a decisive step echoes as they plant their foot firmly on the battlefield, ready to advance into whatever hell awaits them. Back in the safety of their base, two boys, one blonde with glasses, another brown-haired, look toward a mysterious figure emerging from the shadows. The cloaked warrior with glowing red eyes announces simply, "I've completed the mission." But the revelation that follows changes everything. The brown-haired boy suddenly cries out, "Imam," in shock and joy. It's Minhwa's mother. She's alive. She's here. Yet even as relief floods through them, tension remains. Something about this mission feels incomplete.
In the quiet corridor, somber news weighs heavy on everyone present. A digital display reveals the terrible truth. Sir Lancelot, Spectre of Camelot, has been vanquished. The dark-haired man in gray reflects on Mordred's message, that Lancelot sacrificed himself in the mission. The cloaked figure with glowing yellow eyes stands nearby, a silent witness to the cost of their victory. Success came with a price that cuts deeper than any failure could have. Against the golden sunset, hope mingles with moral complexity. The cloaked figure explains that Lancelot isn't completely dead. Resurrection is possible with enchant stones and mana stones. But Jeong-gyeom struggles with the ethical implications, his troubled expression reflecting deep conflict. Just because someone can be resurrected doesn't make their death acceptable. The weight of responsibility for lives lost, even temporarily, creates a burden that victory cannot erase. Some choices scar the soul regardless of their reversibility.
The conversation turns to Lancelot's final message. Even facing death, the knight thought strategically about the best use for the enchant stone. Jeong-gyeom appears contemplative as he connects the dots, surprised by the stone's potential applications. The cloaked figure reflects on Lancelot's relentless nature, how he planned for every contingency, even in his final moments. There's a mixture of admiration and urgency in recognizing that there's no time for despair, only action. Lancelot's sacrifice must not be wasted. The cloaked figure with glowing red eyes demands crucial intelligence from Mordred. Tell me everything you know. The dark-haired boy appears anxious but determined as he explains their strategy to close the lizard's gates, ensuring Lancelot's sacrifice wasn't meaningless. Suddenly, mystical energy erupts with FWOM sound effects as an ominous symbol materializes. Confusion spreads as someone questions undead, while a bearded man lies injured below, red energy glowing from his wounds. The mystery deepens. Is there a dark mage orchestrating these horrors? In the dim cave, the bald mage sits confidently at his wooden table, holding a glowing red orb. He acknowledges their recent failure, letting the intruder escape, but points out they still managed to weaken enemy forces significantly. The cloaked figure with yellow eyes retorts sarcastically that gratitude would be more appropriate than criticism. Tension flickers between them as the mage responds with crude dismissal, asking about plans for the enchanting stones he acquired. His casual arrogance suggests deeper schemes at work. The bearded mage grips his glowing red artifact, suggesting investment in him, if no better use can be found. A massive, ominous eye looms in the background, questioning what he can offer in return. With desperate confidence, he reveals a scroll, claiming he can create something amazing from it, connecting its power to the legendary Lancelot. His determination mixes with caution as he explains the scroll's significance. The creature's intimidating gaze suggests this negotiation carries deadly stakes. The massive blue serpent with striking yellow eyes expresses deep skepticism about the mage's filthy scrolls, items that use living souls as sources of power. The bearded man clenches his glowing fist defensively, muttering curses under his breath as he calls others savages for not appreciating his masterwork. The serpent retorts that exchanging with elemental arms and weapons sounds like a much better deal. The atmosphere grows heavy with conflict as creator and critic face off in the shadowy, ominous backdrop. A hidden figure with a large, glowing yellow eye declares ominously that they will use the jagged stone to extract truth with damaging strength. Mordred contemplates the looming danger while an older man mutters about inconsiderate behavior. The atmosphere thickens with suspense as footsteps echo, and a creaking door breaks the tense silence. Someone grips a chair nervously in the dimly lit cave as mysterious sounds intrude. Turns to who goes there as an unknown presence approaches through the shadows. Heavy footsteps echo as Percival, a massive armored knight, storms into the cave through dust and debris. The bald mage recognizes him immediately, playfully acknowledging the knight's reputation with casual amusement. Sitting relaxed on his stool, the mage suggests Percival must be here to discuss death or similar grave matters. When Percival appears confused, the mage swiftly conjures a fiery magic attack using a scroll. Flames swirl around his hands as magical energy crackles through the air, ready to unleash devastating power. The cave erupts in explosive chaos. Kaboom echoes as intense fire bursts outward, creating a maelstrom of flames and curling smoke that fills the air. The heavily armored warrior advances with determination through the inferno, his dark armor and prominent green cape cutting through the destruction. As flames sizzle and smoke clears, the bearded mage watches from a distance with sarcastic commentary about his opponent's sturdy nature. The battle between magic and steel has begun in earnest. The bearded mage channels red magical energy through his glowing fist, challenging the serpent's skepticism with fierce determination. He commands, "Then, let's see you," before flicking his fingers, expecting his power to manifest. But confusion washes over his face. Why isn't it working? Blue energy suddenly gathers around his storage shelf, flaring with a loud FWOM as magical figures pour out unexpectedly. His eyes widen in shock and disbelief as a notification appears, indicating Mana Stone usage. Something has gone terribly wrong. In the control room, Jeong-gyeom sits with headphones, his serious expression focused on a holographic interface displaying Mana Stone information. He informs his team that he's collected everything and is leaving the rest to them. Meanwhile, in the rocky underground setting, a figure in green crouches with a communication device as it emits strange noises. The scene shifts to an older man with white hair who reacts with confusion upon hearing about Mordred, wondering if this mysterious person is the thief who stole all his scrolls. The mage gasps in horror as silvery purple energy slashes through the air with deadly precision. His sharp blue eyes reflect pure terror as he witnesses the sudden attack. A menacing figure emerges from the shadows, revealing a sinister smile filled with sharp teeth and dark malevolence. The creature taunts him cruelly. "He's the one who just ended you." When someone questions if this attacker is a mage, the simple response, "Yes," carries the weight of inevitable doom. In the dimly lit room, the hooded figure with his terrifying mask and glowing eyes declares ominously that he has seen and heard everything. The characters gathered around the table, including the dark-haired youth in a white shirt, look surprised as they discuss Arcane, an unknown dimension of powerful mages. They learn about Silzen, an elderly mage exiled from this mystical realm for unknown reasons. The revelation about Arcane's ranking system intensifies their understanding. Rank 6 indicates extreme magical power beyond their comprehension. The group debates the exiled mage's true threat level. One character questions whether a mage stripped of rank through excommunication can even use magic anymore. Another offers analysis. While Silzen lost his formal rank with exile, he remains dangerous due to his vast knowledge of magical scrolls. These scrolls can contain power that anyone possessing them can cast, making them incredibly dangerous for their convenience. The bearded man stands resolute as they evaluate their adversaries' capabilities and potential strategies against them. Jeong-gyeom listens intently as the cloaked figure explains that Silzen has created numerous magical scrolls, keeping them stored for strategic use. The young man appears contemplative, tapping his chin as he ponders what other scrolls might exist in the mage's arsenal. The mysterious figure brings up two critical considerations: whether other researchers possess similar scrolls, and what kind of devastating magic these scrolls might contain. The cloaked figure's glowing golden eyes flash dramatically as tension builds around these unanswered questions. Chaos erupts without warning. The bald mage exhales sharply as a brilliant beam of silvery purple energy cuts through the air with devastating force. Crash echoes through the rocky terrain as the explosion radiates outward, generating sharp sounds and a resounding boom. Dust and energy blur the surroundings as the atmosphere thickens with destruction. Through the turmoil, a shadowed figure emerges, their features obscured, but their confusion clear as they question what's happening. The battlefield has become a maelstrom of magical violence. The hooded figure with glowing purple eyes warns urgently about an intruder, while another character shows concern for Commander Costas. The mystical aura surrounding the first figure suggests powerful magical abilities as danger escalates. Someone strategizes about the mage's use of scrolls while declaring intent to seal off the exit before escape becomes impossible. Time is critical. The intruder may have already stolen something valuable. Sound effects like slash and thud punctuate their urgent actions as confrontation becomes inevitable. The final battle explodes across the chaotic terrain. A dark figure with glowing eyes demonstrates overwhelming power while the bearded mage engages a reptilian creature in brutal combat. His blade slashes as the creature shrieks in pain. HURK. The cloaked warrior coldly dismisses them as foolish reptiles who cannot comprehend his true strategy. Red magical energy flashes through the scene as the stakes reach their peak. This confrontation will determine who controls the ancient powers and who survives to tell the tale. The confrontation reaches its breaking point. The cloaked figure's golden eyes burn with deadly intent as he declares Jeong-gyeom's luck has finally run out. Metal rings against metal as he prepares to draw his weapon. But Jeong-gyeom refuses to back down, his jaw set with determination despite the overwhelming odds. In the war room, the weight of responsibility settles heavy on their shoulders. The bald commander accepts blame for burdening his team, while his lieutenant listens with tactical focus. Their armored ally stands ready. One priority remains clear: shut down that gate before more damage spreads. The dark-haired strategist analyzes the intruder's movements, noting they're protecting something valuable. Two possibilities emerge: desperation or backup support. His eyes fall on the magical tokens spread across the table. The warehouse categories on the wall hint at their supernatural arsenal. But which scenario are they facing? Jeong-gyeom's frustration boils over as he confronts the limitations of his parallel dimension storage. He can't organize or add categories to his items, a massive tactical disadvantage. But defeating the traitor Dugo earned him 2 additional category slots. In a world where storage equals survival, every advantage counts. The mysterious device projects a holographic landscape, revealing the town below. The cloaked figure's taunt cuts deep. What happens when all advantages are stripped away? As the projection flickers, a confident warrior charges toward the cave entrance, weapon ready. The final assault begins now. Percival confirms his past leadership with casual confidence, looking forward to seeing what his armored ally can accomplish. But the skull-helmeted warrior expresses frustration. He never got his chance to prove himself. Ancient ruins stretch behind them as ominous sound effects herald approaching conflict. The armored giant brandishes shield and sword, while Jeong-gyeom calmly advises restraint through his portal communication. He's keeping someone safe in his parallel dimension to avoid interference. Suddenly, goblin sentries raise the alarm. Another intruder detected. One rushes to notify Lord Saizen as chaos erupts. Magical energy swirls as Jeong-gyeom reflects on Mordred's successful mission. But something crashes to the ground nearby. A hooded figure reveals the terrifying truth. After feeling a weak vibration, a mysterious attacker appeared and slaughtered Silzen. Yellow eyes gleam menacingly from the shadows. The real threat has arrived. A giant reptilian eye watches with predatory focus as Jeong-gyeom charges forward in his dark armor. The purple creature with its single enormous eye flinches in terror. His weapon cuts through the air with deadly precision. The clash is swift and brutal. Survival depends on speed. Percival's blow connects with devastating force, energy exploding through the dark tunnel. The cloaked intruder maintains his resolve. He must obtain the gate core at any cost. But a firm voice declares that no finger shall touch their prize. In these shadowy depths, every strike could be the last. The dark-robed figure's anger erupts. That useless mage should never have been trusted. With cold determination, he decides there's only one option left. His hand crushes something with devastating force, debris and water exploding everywhere. A hole appears in the wall. Where is he taking the gate core? Swift movements echo through the tactical operation as analysis reveals their enemy's true rank. Their representative isn't 7th rank as expected. He's positioned outside the cave, observing the situation. While the strongest soldiers focus inside, the real strategist watches from the shadows. The helicopter's rotors thunder overhead as they locate their target near Sol Reef. Inside the cockpit, the young pilot's eyes widen behind his headphones. Below them, a monstrous creature roars with fangs bared, its fury directed skyward. The hunt has found them both. The pilot issues his command with military precision. Swift action follows as energy builds for a decisive strike. The armored warrior delivers a crushing blow, debris scattering from the explosive impact. In this tunnel of chaos, every second counts. The massive serpent's dark scales gleam as it slides across rocky terrain,
yellow eyes fixed on its target. It grabs and flings objects with terrifying force, metal clanking against stone. The observer notes its bizarre attacking capabilities. Yongsoo maintains his distance on orders. Then the beast unleashes a spectacular energy blast. Blue energy streaks downward as the serpent spins to deflect incoming beams, an incredible defensive technique. The dark-haired operator watches in alarm through his headphones. The creature moves with fluid grace, yellow eyes gleaming as it counters every attack with spinning motions and metallic clangs. The gigantic serpent roars as purple venom sprays from its fangs, splattering across the rocky ground with a dangerous hiss. The helicopter maneuvers desperately above, while toxic liquid creates chemical reactions below. At Seoul Reef, every drop of that venom could mean death. The pilot's urgency peaks as he calls for product recall. Above the ominous clouds, a glowing portal materializes with a dramatic sound. Inside this dimensional gateway, a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter awaits transport. The crew stands ready as reality bends to their will. Jeong-gyeom watches the serpent recover from portal damage, amazed by its regenerative abilities. The creature slips in and out of dimensions with ease. But helicopter damage doesn't concern him. His parallel dimension can provide replacements. The question remains, what should he test next? The serpent recoils in shock as a spear pierces its massive form, brilliant blue light contrasting with dark scales. Its yellow eyes widen in disbelief. Where did this weapon come from? The beast questions whether it belongs to Raki's, pain and confusion evident in its enormous gaze. Realization dawns. There are two serpents, not one. The characters grapple with the impossible sight of duplicate spears. Blue magical energy gathers as a two-circle eye spear is conjured and launched with deadly precision. The icy projectile strikes with a satisfying crack. The dragon dismisses the pilot's attacks as feeble, but the pilot calmly explains his strategy. His previous strike was designed to freeze around the impact point. As the beast lunges with gnashing teeth, the pilot calls for product recall and retreats with calculated precision. The serpent makes a sudden movement as Jeong-gyeom analyzes the situation. He can still see Seoul Reef where someone disappeared, but they've moved to a different space entirely. What kind of ability allows duplicate spears? The mystery deepens as glowing energy builds around them. The massive serpent looms against a backdrop of blue light as six figures line up for coordinated attack. The command rings out, fire. Their leader hurls a glowing projectile as the beast reacts violently to the incoming assault. This is their moment of unified strike. Ice magic erupts in spectacular fashion as a two-circle ice spear formation manifests. Glittering shards cascade downward in a deadly rain while the serpent opens its maw in preparation for defense. The icy landscape transforms into a battlefield of crystalline beauty and lethal intent. Blue energy cracks through the air as the dragon screams in pain, crashing down with a thunderous impact. Water splashes around its fallen form. The pilot declares victory. The beast is down. He orders everyone back while preparing his next strategic move in the stormy aftermath. Yongsoo prepares for action as the helicopter's rotors thunder overhead. His teammate celebrates. Their enemy remains immobilized on the ground. This is their chance to strike while the serpent lies vulnerable among the dust and debris. Time to finish what they started. The team leader shouts for maximum assault as three fighters advance. A muscular man, a dark-haired woman with a glowing device, and a frustrated ally hindered by freezing effects. Energy builds around them as they prepare their coordinated attack against the massive serpent ahead. A two-circle ice spear scroll activates with devastating power. Brilliant energy erupts in blues, yellows, and oranges as the spell strikes with overwhelming force. The serpent recoils in shock, its enormous eye widening in alarm. The magical explosion rocks the entire battlefield with crushing impact. Energy beams in green, blue, red, and orange radiate outward like a supernatural aurora. The battlefield transforms into a kaleidoscope of magical destruction as multiple spells collide simultaneously. Smoke and debris fill the air, the very atmosphere crackling with unleashed power. Young-soo stands defiant against the chaos, demanding answers from the monstrous enemy. Why are they so obsessed with destroying Earth? What do they desperately want to take? The creature's golden eye looms ominously as it gives a chilling response. They must. No choice in the matter. The ominous truth unfolds. Earth's time will meet the same fate as other dimensions. This is how the system works across realities. As a notification chimes about dimensional account transfer, ownership changes hands. The cosmic order operates beyond individual choice or resistance. Jeong-gyeom struggles to understand the system's demands about monsters. Earlier, one creature consumed another, but was it trying to save something? The cloaked figure nearby hints at overcoming their commander while discussing retrieval from the deceased beast. Questions multiply faster than answers. The dark-robed specialist steps forward, revealing their expertise in dissecting corpses. Their target is clear: retrieve valuable shards from the fallen creature's body. The armored ally readies his weapon as they prepare to cut into their monstrous prize. Blood spatters as the brutal work begins. Young-soo observes the terraformed landscape vanishing around him, unease growing with each passing moment. A voice addresses him as "my lord" before another figure appears with casual familiarity. The transformed environment continues its mysterious disappearance as new players enter this dimensional game. On a dimly lit balcony against the sunset, the cloaked figure holds 3 glowing red gems. Energy builds around the stones as a notification confirms Lancelot's appointment to the 12 Knights of Camelot. The mana stones burst with brilliant red light. Transformation is about to begin. Lancelot emerges in ornate armor with a flowing red cape, pledging undying loyalty to his master. But urgent notifications interrupt. The Savros dimension has lost its license for the Incheon region. Earth has reclaimed the territory. The dimensional war shifts in their favor. Debris swirls through the devastated area as the cloaked figure steps forward with quiet confidence. Wind sends destruction flying as he acknowledges a debt owed. Another figure responds about being late, their conversation heavy with unspoken history amid the urban destruction. Young-soo thanks Lancelot, but the armored knight humbly insists he's unworthy of gratitude, merely fulfilling his knightly duties. Young-soo advises him to accept thanks more gracefully. When Lancelot calls him "my lord," the moment lightens with genuine appreciation between warrior and leader. As debris flies through the air, Jeong-gyeom stands on a cobblestone path, listening to warnings that danger hasn't fully passed. Despite their recent victories, primitive beasts like orcs and wyverns still roam the transformed landscape. Complete safety remains elusive in this new world. Colonel Kim encounters Lieutenant Colonel Park, who reports the exotic terrain disappearing. Park feels awkward replacing Lieutenant General Yu for these briefings, but his attention focuses on the massive blue serpent nearby. Is this giant creature their enemy leader? The answer could change everything. In their makeshift warehouse dining area, Jeong-gyeom stares in confusion at Chinese-style noodles during the apocalypse. Where could such food come from? A nurse in white uniform expresses gratitude, while regretting she can't cook something special. Comfort food amid chaos creates surreal normalcy. Manhwa explains he had plenty of ingredients to gather, leading to amazement about his unlimited supply. His mother consults a talented chef, a confident man in black uniform who expresses joy about cooking for people during these challenging times. Hope emerges through culinary creativity. At the feast-laden table, one young man excitedly demands another serving while his companion complains about the lightning-fast eating pace. Their playful banter about chewing properly brings lighthearted moments to their group meal. Even in apocalyptic times, friendship and food create joy.
Two women discuss the incredible quality of Chef Ju's dishes, saved under the warehouse category. Fresh Chinese-style food available anytime. They marvel at the incredible flavors, sweet and sour combinations that seem almost supernatural. The bustling restaurant atmosphere enhances their culinary appreciation. Seun groans in discomfort, barely touching her food as concerned friends notice her lack of appetite. When they ask about recent nausea, the suggestion of early pregnancy symptoms leads to shocked gasps. The mood shifts dramatically from worry to stunned realization around the dining table. Jeong-gyeom's brother announces he's going to be an uncle, creating joyous celebration around the table. After confirming the pregnancy test results, everyone cheers about the new addition. They discuss baby clothes and sports to teach the child. Life continues to flourish even amid apocalyptic uncertainty. The celebration continues with talk of becoming aunts and teaching sports when Colonel Kim's urgent transmission interrupts. The festive mood shifts as Jeong-gyeom prepares to respond in his military uniform, standing against a bright sky. Duty calls even during family moments. Jeong-gyeom receives disturbing reports about terraforming events and toxic gas leaking from the Beijing gate. The situation in China and Japan grows dire. His serious expression reflects the gravity of international crisis as neon lights blur behind him in the city setting. The military commander explains both situations are bad, but Beijing's gas poses the greater threat. Though poisonous winds haven't reached them yet, the insects have already arrived. Time is running out. They must close the Beijing gate before the contamination spreads further. The stakes couldn't be higher. Previously, we left our heroes facing the monster cat threat. But now, everything changes. Lieutenant General makes the call that will seal Korea's fate. His voice trembles as he speaks those damning words. The entire Korean peninsula is about to turn into living hell. The weight of command crushes down as he sets departure for evening. One phone call, one decision. The clock starts ticking on a nation's survival. Jeong-gyeom's eyes burn with determination. Earth awaits. But first, power. He commands PX to upgrade his parallel dimension, watching as new possibilities unfold before him. The portal installation begins, reality bending to his will. This isn't just an upgrade. It's preparation for war. The sky brightens behind him, but darkness lies ahead in the battles to come. The truth about his portals emerges. These aren't ordinary gateways. They can't shield him from enemy attacks. Vulnerability masked as strength. But then, the revelation that changes everything. Only those he grants access can enter his parallel dimension. And standing beside him, a hulking gray figure emerges from the swirling portal. An ally? Or something far more dangerous? The strategic depths of his power begin to unfold. Urgent farewells cut through the air. He must leave for Omaha immediately. No time for proper goodbyes. Gratitude mixes with fear as he thanks those who protected his family. But then, the helicopter's blades slice through their conversation. Thwop. FWIP. The sound of destiny arriving to tear him away from safety. Time's up. The mission calls, and family must wait. Sunset bleeds across the sky as the helicopter descends toward Incheon International Airport. A voice cuts through the rotor noise, calling for James. Come out, James. The command echoes with authority and desperation. Those headed for China. Here, a single footstep sounds. Step. In this moment, at this airport, decisions made in shadows will reshape the world's fate. Inside the craft, desperation drives innovation. The black-haired man works frantically on his device, while his light-haired companion questions the timing. Already, smoke swirls around failing machinery as mechanical arms struggle against the pressure. I ain't done yet, though. Words that echo with stubborn defiance. But time is the one enemy no amount of determination can defeat. And outside, the Beijing gate continues to bleed poison into the world.